Oh.
Welcome to the world
Hot mic,
now.
wait.
Should be able to
Audacity
hear
on?
things.
Nice.
Get my Audacity opened.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm exhausted.
I hear you, bro. I hear you.
I think it's Friday.
It's not.
No.
Shouldn't be muted now. Should be good.
Right.
How's everybody sounding, by the way, out there? At least for chat.
Wow.
How do we sound to the world?
Yo.
Oh, we have chat open.
Yeah.
We're on
Muted.
YouTube, by the way.
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
You gotta pull your boy back though. Why is that boy all face all in the truth?
Because you fill up the. Do you see these camera pictures? And your face is like. What you doing?
Bro. Nah, my face is about.
I didn't even realize you had a green screen, Trev. It's a new development.
Yeah, I just got it.
Nice.
Yeah. I got it for this
Back a
show.
little
If
bit,
I'm-
man.
Right after,
If I'm gonna make your face smaller, you get that small.
Oh shit.
You have
I
to
don't see it ain't
you fill
updated.
the whole frame.
I gotta update it. Oh wow, that's crazy. Now I see it.
So I'm saying you're either gonna be big face or small head.
I think it's because it's 4. That's why the real estate.
Do you want to have
No.
a tiny face or a giant head?
No, do you see how much of the
I'm
frame
watching it
we
now. I'm
fill?
watching it now.
No, I'm saying in
watching it.
Discord. Look at your Discord. Do you see like
Mhm.
Travis is this little triangle bottom, I'm this little triangle, and your camera's closer. That's all I'm
No, I
saying.
see it.
I
I see
can't
it, but
make you smaller.
Before you've never had this issue. That's why I just find it funny.
Exactly.
This sounds insulting to me.
It's good. This
That's
is
all
new.
I'm-
It's just
I'm
new now
interpreting
because
this.
I've always had this setup, but all of a sudden
Oh,
now
no.
it's something you can't figure out. But it's cool.
Damn.
It's
getting
gonna come
heated,
for me
guys.
like I
Mom
did
and,
something
Mom and Dad
different.
are fighting.
Oh yeah, we got the smoke early. We bringing the smoke to the cheetah early.
We'll get ours. We'll get our fight out of the way. So
I'm here for the
Are
main
you-
event.
Are you
This-
implying that Paul and I are going to fight during this episode?
Listen,
I don't know about
not-
you guys.
Mhm.
Paul and I don't think have ever disagreed on anything related to Destiny.
That's true.
100% in agreement the
They
entire
canceled,
time.
they canceled the show because we were too agreeable. It's
Yep.
so boring.
This wasn't compelling
This is-
content.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just two guys just giving each other back rubs
Mhm.
on the show.
Paul Terrence, I think it was the first tweet I ever seen him just lately call you out. You're wrong, Travis. I saw that tweet. I was like, okay, this is gonna be spicy from that other week.
All
Just
I'm saying, there was a lot
wrong.
of people in his comments who disagreed with him. I read those comments.
That's everything I say. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true too.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm
I
used
guess
to
when
that.
you have how many followers do you have? 50 times more than me. You're gonna have some people that
Yeah,
agree
you
and
know.
disagree with
comes with the territory.
all right, you
you.
guys
You
want to
actually
start
do have 50
Audacity?
times
Yeah.
more followers than me, but
Yeah.
You gotta tweet more memes, man. That's how you get
Apparently,
Followers.
All
apparently,
right,
yeah.
start y'all recordings in 3, 2, 1. Feel free to hit the button. Not too
Why
exact.
so
It's fine
fast?
I've already
because
been
it doesn't
recording.
matter. Yep, it's good.
Yeah, it's going.
All right. I think we're mostly good to go here.
Cool.
Let's do it.
All right, arranging windows here for all things. All right, unorganized as ever.
You good,
Silence on the
bro.
set. Everybody ready? In 5, 4, 3.
All right. And we are live. The last word with Lord Cognito, Ebontis, and Ty Guy Travis. Special Thursday edition, like I like it. How we doing?
Doing good. I don't even know what just happened with Nintendo, but I don't really care. I've been finished Deathloop. I rolled the credits on that. That was so much fun. And then I'm about 5 hours into Kinna as well. So it's just been a fun week on top of Trials, which we will definitely talk about playing over the weekend. And Sabathun is just straight up calling us out. So we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Travis, what have you been up to, man?
Welcome to Fire Team Chat. Oh, sorry. Wrong group. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Wrong
man.
show,
I've been
wrong
really
show.
good.
Blowing my mind.
Wrong show.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was one of my deceptions as Travathun. One of the
Oh my god.
the hive god Travathun.
I love it.
No, I'm doing good, man. It's been super busy week. I just got enough time in to do all the Destiny stuff, so I'm and go flawless, obviously, and all that, which took no time because now it's one card. and you're done. That's Trials, the game mode.
You already?
Yeah, but yeah, I also carried someone, and it was like so easy. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm doing reviews. I reviewed Sable.
Okay.
An indie game that came out yesterday, something like that, which was really good. You can read my review on IGN, and previewing a game, doing another review this week, and yeah, it's just been really busy, so it's been good. How about you, Cog? What have you been up to? Nothing, probably. I'm just sitting around.
We will get into Trials, of course, doing that, and just it's busy, man. There's a lot of stuff going on. We just came off that Nintendo Direct. There's a lot going on, but we got to bring somebody in. We got this special guest in there, right, E?
Of course. Let's hear it.
Let's do it, man. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 167. It's a glorious Thursday. We're back in front of the campfire for some more looter-shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our returning guest, so we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who is not only a great friend to the campfire, but who presents a unique combination of high-quality game journalism and informative pop culture videos, all done with the utmost passion for the looter-shooter genre. Introducing the creator and host of the Tassi YouTube channel, renowned science fiction novelist, and senior contributor to Forbes.com, the Lord of Cookie Clicker, recent Trials bounty victim, yet sideshow to the real star of YouTube, everyone's favorite co-hosting Corgi, that Evie Tassi. Live from Ohio and making his return into the campfire of The Last Word, my man, Lord Paul Tassi. How we doing, sir?
Good. That never gets old. I like how it evolves over time too.
It's got to. Yeah, we can't do the same. Just be like, I wrote his. I'll just repeat it. That doesn't work.
I can't believe you didn't put Travis's best friend as one of his accolades.
Oh well, maybe next time we evolve it even further.
What's going on, man? How's Cookie Clicker going, man?
Yeah. What is that? What the hell is that?
Why? I had to quit once I downloaded. I had to quit once I downloaded Diablo because I can only have one addictive game running at a time. So I think I'm gonna put Cookie Clicker. I didn't know it was on Steam, so I'm like, oh my god, Cookie Clicker's on Steam. I gotta get it, and it's still Cookie Clicker, and it's still very addictive. So it's dangerous.
This is a mobile game that you became absorbed in and now are like a spokesperson for, an unofficial spokesperson?
Yeah, no, I'm officially sponsored by Cookie Clicker. They are actually paying for my appearance here tonight, so I have to give a 15-minute pitch about Cookie Clicker.
They're
later.
the less known YouTube sponsor. Most people go with Raid Shadow Legends, but Tassi chooses Cookie Clicker.
Raid Shadow Cookies, yes.
Raid Hilarious.
That sounds like something from Ava Levante.
Yeah.
For the oven.
Shadow Cookies,
cookie jar money, huh?
Bacon butter.
Hilarious, man. Now, good to have you back, man. Long overdue.
Yeah.
Long overdue, man. Good.
Sorry, it took me a while to get back on, but I know I give you guys a run around a few times.
No, you're good. You're good.
My first show with Travis on it. It's great.
Wait,
yeah, we adopted.
You've never met Travis
You
before?
adopted
This is
him.
so cool. Yeah.
No, here.
Yeah,
I know.
They did adopt me. I was like, I guess I'm going to start my own YouTube channel now that Fireteam Chat's over.
And we're like, hey, you want to come chat with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta bring them in. These wayward Destiny youths.
That's right.
You're like,
Give them a
our,
home.
it's like our Destiny podcast only made it for 300 episodes. I guess I gotta go find somewhere else. We're halfway to you.
There now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're like
my lonely solo queue finally found a fire team to sit with once again.
Podcast matchmaking, yeah.
Was this skill based or just like connection based? Really?
Definitely not. Definitely not skill based. Let's say that.
Y'all messy today. I already see what it is. What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on with this game? What's happening? What's everybody doing with this game?
Everybody's screaming at each other in Destiny. That's what it seems like if you follow Destiny Twitter, because nobody seems to agree. The big prolific people, they have opinions about one thing. All the replies of casual people have others. There's debates going back and forth.
No.
Did you guys play last weekend and the weekend before? Since we had this whole debate. So the big curiosity is matchmaking, trials, flawless, and all that fun. Before we get into that one, I got to let our two guests, not guests, I'm sorry. I got to let our co-hosts and our guest, he was a guest, but now they're definitely going to go and talk about the thoughts
Call me
on.
a guest today. I'm gonna act like a guest today.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
was, my plan. I'm not gonna be asking questions. I'm just gonna have really strong opinions. And but before we get into that,
Yes.
Paul, can I just ask you, like, we've only got to speak one time since the season started, and I think it was like the week that the season started.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about our various opinions on this panel about how we think the season's going and how it stacks up to other non-expansion seasons. Where do you stand just in general with the season? What do you think?
I like it so far. I think it is extremely buggy to the point of it's hampering the season, I think, a little bit, because it feels like every week there is some sort of progression bug in place that is kind of putting a damper on things. I like the return of Mara and kind of how they're fleshing out Savathun more. I'm curious where this whole season goes, because like this storyline we're currently in should be over in like 3 weeks, I think at most. So like something is going to happen, and it's going to take a turn somewhere else. So I think once that happens, I think I'm the most curious about that. But in terms of activities, when Astral is working, I like Astral, and then I really like the Shattered Realm. I think that is a brilliant location that they have really done a great job with in terms of balancing kind of puzzle exploration and combat, and I enjoy how they're adding to it every week, which has been kind of really fun to find all the new secrets, except this week where the freaking data caches are so hidden.
Yeah.
They don't show up on your map. You have to have True Sight on. I'm like, all right, I got to look up a YouTube guide for this, because you can't just find them randomly. It's like impossible. So
Yeah, the first one that I found, because I was going through making my guide for those,
Yeah,
and the first one literally popped. Like I was like going through, I'm like, okay, so I went through, I did the first Ascendant Mystery, so you actually teleport to the other island. I was like, cool, I thought we'd teleport here. And then I'm going down, I'm like, okay, so here's a chest down. Oh, what is this little floaty thing? I pick it up, I'm like, that's what it, like, they're so hard to see. And the one, I think I saw, it was maybe your tweet or somebody else, the one on the island, near impossible to spot in that, like, slow field, unless you just know exactly where to look. Shout out, by the way, to
the slow field. Sorry, yeah, no, shout out first.
Yeah, shout out Vagabondo 5591 for the super chat. Paul, where is Yiz Cookie?
Well, I'm baking like 8 million cookies an hour in cookie clickers.
Okay, so we'll get you one soon.
But
all right.
No, the slow field one, that was like lying about where it was. It's like, oh, it's in this part of the map. It like names part of the map, and then when you're standing at it, it's a different part of the map, and you're like, what? This is not what they told me. So
one was like
a little confusing.
One was over. Yeah, it was like Harbingers, and it was like the derelict shipyard, and all of a sudden that's the one that's way out on the Vista Island. I was so mad because I was like doing it live on stream. I'm like, where's this thing? I'm like, okay, so I'm like picking up the True Sight, run back out into the derelict where like Beacon 2 is. I'm searching every corner, nook, and everything. Come back, I'm like doing the laps and laps and laps. I'm like, it's got to be over here. Somebody else in my chat's like, well, hey, let me go check the island. I'm like, son of a. So no, those were sneaky for sure.
What I like the most, the things they have added, I don't know about the data caches, but the stuff they did, like the Scorn Gladiator match that you stumble upon, like is very cool, just in terms of like being a fun little thing. Then Mara has commentary on it. I thought that was really interesting. I like when they do stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same bit for me. I mean, I've been enjoying it. A quick question for all of you: did you guys get the passcode to that chest in there where it's like covered? I don't know what I did, but
that's the thing. So you have to find and kill 3 different yellow bars that are like around the area, and each one has a passcode. So you just come back, and there's 3 little fire
got
things.
A video for that.
Yeah, awesome. as you covered.
I watched the video.
I was confused at the first time. I didn't know what to do, and then I had to come back and do it a different time. So it was.
I like accidentally tripped.
It was hard.
I like tripped my way through that at first.
Yeah,
Trav, you said?
Yeah, I haven't been using guides for any of this, and I've just been like organically figuring it out because they tell you like that there's so many Ascendant mysteries or whatever. So I figured that one out organically, and honestly, it's just been so great to feel like there's like exploration and stuff to discover in Destiny rather than just going like, all right, I know exactly what I'm going to have to do this week, and I'm just going to repeat what I did last week, and I'm going to get the drops that I know I'm going to get and all that stuff. Like for me, Destiny is one of the things that draws me to Destiny is like the mystery of like, what's that new exotic I don't know about yet, and what's that new dungeon I haven't tackled yet. And so this has been my favorite season, not because of the 6-person match made activity. I still hate all of those, including this one. But it's just the fact that there's a place to explore that feels fresh and has mysteries, and the time gating doesn't bother me because they're doing it cleverly, like a Metroidvania, where you're gaining access to different areas every week as you gain new abilities, which I just think is awesome. So.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I had fun with it. I had I like the one with the scoring ball thing, and then you got to go to different locations, charge that up. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Astral Alignment for me. I've been actually surprisingly impressed with Aegis. Was it Aegis Scepter? Is that the name of it?
Aegis Scepter.
I'm really enjoying that. I just got the Catalyst to drop.
Oh, you did? I still don't have it.
Yeah, I was.
It reminds me of It reminds me of Trinity Ghoul in its effect, where where you'd get a kill and it would just do like the blast.
The blast radius,
Stasis.
It's like pairing it with a stasis build is so much fun. I love the aspect of it. Obviously, I haven't unlocked the Catalyst yet, where you use the super to kind of make it have higher DPS. But I like that type of utility, and I've been rocking the Battle Harmony as a Warlock build. Oh man, bro, it's so much fun as a Warlock. Like this thing, get Paul.
It's wild. I was just gonna talk about the Catalyst because like I was playing Arms Dealer, and like I went into the tank room, and I activated the super mode. And if you have Whisper of Bonds on, you're getting super every time you shatter an enemy. So like I had it on for the entire room. Both tanks, just clearing every enemy with the supercharged beam and the tanks because you're doing so much damage. And if you can like kind of time it and just keep it running and running and running, like it's a better use of a super probably than your actual super would be in a lot of circumstances. Like I don't know if that's always true, but in a lot of especially really crowded rooms where you can always just keep it up, it's definitely great. And it refills your ammo because the whole point of it is when you kill something with freeze damage, you also get ammo back, and it has like a 200-round magazine when you pop the super part of it. So it's one of the crazier catalysts I think I have ever seen.
Yeah, it is. It's becoming one of my favorite exotics by far. Did you get it yet? You don't have the catalyst.
I don't have the catalyst. Yeah, I got the gun. I don't have the catalyst yet. Unlucky. Not as Astacross unlucky. He took 34 runs. I was like, yikes. Was Dado like 14 or something? I think I'm on like almost up to 10 now or something. So not in the lucky side, unfortunately.
Yeah. I didn't even know it dropped from Astral Alignment, but I've definitely done like 10 or 15 Astral Alignments since I got that exotic, and I still don't have it. So
it started dropping this week, not last week. So
okay.
Yeah,
probably more like 10 then I've done.
Okay. Yep. But unlucky with me.
Yeah, crazy utility. It finally got me to take my Vex Vendor class off. It finally got the Vex has been glued to me, bro. Like I have no idea. But yeah, that thing is so cool. Like I said, the Stasis build, the intellect builds, all that, having fun with that. Obviously we'll get in the trials. But yeah, I've been having fun. We're gonna touch this lore because man, there's some stuff to talk about there too.
Yeah, we can talk about the lore.
I'm gonna lock it down. I think Mara's gonna die. I know every time I talk to somebody about this, they go, they can't kill Mara. She's too important to the story. And I'm like, bro, they're giving the Hive ghosts. You know what I mean? Like they killed Cade. Like these guys, I don't think they care anymore. I think they're just like, look, we've had so many years of the story not really going anywhere. And every single expansion ends with like, oh, right over the horizon, something is finally going to happen in this game. And I think they're at the point where they're like, all right, we got 3 years to kind of wrap up this arc. Stuff needs to start happening quickly. And not even in like main seasons, like even in off seasons, big stuff can happen. Like they killed off all the factions, all 3 of them in like one. It was sort of like a one line of dialogue at the end of last season. So it's like I just really don't get why people think that they would be afraid to kill her.
I respect how brazen that was with the factions. Like, you want faction rallies back? No more factions. None at all.
None. It's over. We're moving on. Yeah.
Lore wise,
it was great. So I honestly think that's not really a reason to not do it. And all of the stuff they're setting up kind of is showing like clearly the Crow is part of Savathun's plan to take power. Mara is just playing right into Savathun's hand and being super arrogant about this. Like, oh, whatever, I'm immortal. I got a throne world. And I just think like some stuff is going to happen. And I don't think Mara is going to make it through the season personally.
Oh, let me get your thoughts because you had a good video about this whole situation and Savathun's little sharp jabs at us.
Man, that one this week was hilarious.
Yeah, the third wall, RIP disrespects. Let's get to it, man. For what we feeling, man.
When Savathun says things like "R.I.P. Cade," that is, to me, that is fourth wall breaking. Like that is her talking to us, the player, not our guardian, which I find hilarious. I haven't thought too much about Mara dying. I'm not going to rule it out. I can see it happening. I guess I would be a little surprised given that we just sort of hinged last season on Lakshmi dying, and that was a major character. So to kind of just do that again here instead of maybe pushing it to the Witch Queen, I'd be a little surprised. There was all the speculation this week about if Osiris is already dead or not. I feel like they wouldn't have set things up this way to ultimately reveal that Osiris has been dead the whole time. I would be a little surprised if that's how this ended there. In terms of Mara, it's just, I don't know if she's going to die, but like she has become like exponentially more dislikable. Like I get that a lot of people are like, you're just not realizing this. Like she's always been like arrogant and self-serving, but like, boy, is it really coming across emphatically this time. And in addition to that, it's also like her plan just seems very stupid. And like part of that is, just not thinking you can outsmart that Savathun. But this season's also weird because like we know what happens. We know Savathun escapes and gets the light and isn't killed. So that kind of creates a weird storytelling barrier where like I can't imagine just in 3 weeks Savathun breaks out of her cocoon and pieces out, and that's like the end of the story for this season. Like there has to be more going on over the next 6 months. It could involve Mara dying. I feel like if Mara died right now, like who would really be sad? Like Petra. I don't think I can name
Crow would
else.
be weirdly.
Crow wouldn't be because Crow doesn't even know.
No, but I was like, he would just be weirdly divided to be like, I think there's part of him would be like, this is weird, but he wouldn't be hurt right now. But it is weird to see like everything that's been going on.
Humanity loses a huge ally. I think that's the major blow. Is it means like now we're even more undefended because Mara has kind of like stood up for us and protected us at really key moments, including like the Last Wish and Oryx's invasion. And I think that if she dies, it just adds to like the stakes of like, wow, we're really screwed here. Like things are looking really dire. And that seems like what they're doing generally with the narrative. They're trying to like build up our allies in certain areas and then take away our safeguards in other areas and just like set us up for this final, confrontation is what I'm thinking. But
I mean, I still have the ultimate theory that Savathun will be an ally eventually. I don't think, again, it just seems too straightforward to me that the plot of the Witch Queen is the Hive get the light, we get mad about it, we go to a throne world, we kill Savathun as the raid boss. Like, to me, that is much too straightforward a plot line, especially after building Savathun up for this long. We might fight her and fight her armies and stuff, but I would be surprised if we ended the Witch Queen without some sort of allegiance with her against the Voice in the Darkness. Because, like, she's making it very clear that is her, like, ultimate enemy. And, like, yeah, she wants to steal our light, but, like, who doesn't want to steal our light? I mean, everybody wants to. Like, why would you not want to? So, we can't.
That's good. I'll take one of those. Yeah, I'll take one of those. That sounds good.
Who don't want this goodness?
But it is interesting because we know the raid actually isn't against Savathun because they say something is like trapped down in there in the pyramid ship. They actually said that on the website for Witch Queen.
Did they?
They've said that she's not the actual.
Fighting the darkness.
I've always thought it was Xivu Arath to be the raid boss because I assume we're not going to fight Xivu Arath this season.
No,
like that.
I wouldn't imagine so.
I don't think that's going to happen. So like, it would make more sense if it was either Xivu Arath or some sort of like manifestation of a Voice in the Darkness minion or something, or I don't know, one of the pyramid statues come to life. But
apparently the pyramid is in her throne world. It's like not a real place, so it could have theoretically anything inside of it. It doesn't even have to be like real or canon. It's like a fictitious area, right?
Throne world logic really kind of messes with me to the point where like, does anything matter in a throne world?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I don't really get how throne worlds work either, but
I think it's like the Matrix where you die in the throne world, you die in real life. Like,
that's
the only thing I can gather from it. But
I'm just going to read the raid piece real quick. Just among the swamps of Savathun's throne world lies a sunken pyramid. Alongside your fire team, venture inward and confront the ancient danger imprisoned within. So I don't know what ancient danger would be buried in a pyramid in her throne world. Right.
Well, I don't know why.
I think it's whatever.
But I don't know why Xivu Arath would be imprisoned in a pyramid. So maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's whatever Savathun's afraid of, which does speak to her possibly being an ally if we're just hanging out in their throne world. And you have to think about it. Her throne world is going to be traversable for the next couple years in Destiny. You got to
Right.
assume maybe even until the end of the Darkness and Light saga. So if we kill her, does her throne world exist? Like I'm not even really clear on that either.
She's in an interesting spot because she, from my understanding with the law stuff I've been reading, is just that she's kind of been like a heretic against her own. Like, you know, a lot of the Hive are denouncing her. And the thing right now,
get rid of her worm. Pretty bad.
And then the other thing is we're hearing, obviously, I mean, I heard, which I didn't realize, was it was Zevil Wrath who took Osiris's light, from my understanding. And then she's playing this high stakes poker game of pitting everybody against, as far as getting the light, and then pitting people against each other. But yeah, right now she's not beloved by the Hive. Like, she is clearly doing her own thing and almost, you know, denouncing like Sword Logic in a way. So that part is very interesting to me. I don't know about Mara, man. Like, part of me, I see both of your sides, because part of me is like, she was just reintroduced again after not seeing her for a while. You know, it seems like
so was Lakshmi.
True, but it seems the vibe I've gotten. Lakshmi to me was just make the tower great again. I thought she was always a side character. To be completely honest, I never took her seriously. Like, sorry, Future Warcraft fans. That was the.
No, I hate her too.
Yeah, she you know, I remember going to that faction. They had the Starbucks Wi-Fi cafe set up over there. That was that crew. You know, salute to them. But at the end of the day, like, to me, it's like Caiatl, you know, Mithrax. You know, like these uneasy alliances and histories that we've had with the past to now have to form alliance against these greater evils. So I would be shocked. It would be bold if they did it. I would be shocked if they did it. But I still see her thinking around but I will agree with Paul. She has become extremely unlikable and very fine. And did y'all catch that conversation she had with Ikora and regarding Uldren, and he's, you know, you exhumed him, and like her wanting vengeance, and Ikora trying to say, hey, you need to let it go because of what
that was an intense.
That was an intense conversation. Yeah, so like I think they're fleshing her out a little bit more. My gut says she's sticking around, but I'll tell you this, Travis. There's a part of me that wouldn't be upset if she goes. I would just be surprised. You know what I'm saying? It's very interesting what's going on.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Even see her becoming adversarial. If a path opens for us to become allied with Savathun, I don't think Mara would let that happen under any circumstances.
That's a good point too.
And so
I mean, a lot of people would be mad about that. One thing that people have brought up in the past is, where's Eris in all this?
Yes,
Eris and Savathun have such a personal vendetta against each other. Like, it really seems like she has to be in Witch Queen, although all we've seen is like Horror and Witch Queen so far. So I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't bring her in. I assume her voice actress isn't one of like the Hollywood people they need to recast.
No,
Morla
would probably do stuff
for that. So it seems like it would be time definitely to have her in the Witch Queen. So I'm hoping we see that. I mean, she was in Beyond Light, quote unquote, but all she did was go to Europa and do nothing and say nothing. So.
Yeah, I just gotta say, like, the actress for Savathun, Deborah Wilson, I think it is. Every time you go up and listen to her, and this week especially when it's R.I.P. Cade, what do you think you're gonna do with that weapon you hold? With that little gun? Yeah, I was holding a bow, so a little broke it a little bit for me, but still, like the way
I had a tiny hand cannon, and I went,
like, but it's Traveler's Chosen.
It's the chosen weapon. But yeah, like the way they've been building her up, and they got like a voice actress who's like nailing her role.
She's very good. Yeah.
I don't think, like, again, Mara, it's interesting because like her connection to Crow is so far back that we've seen, because the connection with her even floating the clouds in like Season of the Drifter with like the 9, and she's communicating with them. Like, I feel like her history is so big that like if something does happen to her, I don't know what it's going to do. I'd like to see her get developed more. I'd rather her not die, because I think keeping her around will keep more things interesting than killing her off, because her and Crow going at it, Petra being around, and then Savathun, this whole clash of ideals going on. I'm just curious what the commentary is going to be like between Ikora, Mara, Crow, Eris, and then all of a sudden, if we can communicate with Savathun at the same time. I just want to be a fly on the wall in that conversation between those 4 or 5 characters, just to be like,
fly on the wall in most conversations. So I think that's
all of them
be pretty easy. So if you want a bit of wholesome Mara content, get the Catalyst, complete the Catalyst, and claim the Triumph for the ship. Then read the ship lore. And it's all about Mara being very nice to Petra, actually, about how she did such a good job while Mara was away, and it's actually kind of sweet. So it's like there's a good bit of Mara content I've seen in a while. Another interesting thing that Mara brought up in, I think it's dialogue at the end of either an Astral or a Shattered Realm, is I think it's her and Ikora talking about Caiatl and like how Caiatl will be an ally eventually, but they're worried about Callus, and like they were like, we need to talk about Callus and the Glycon and the thing we found on the Glycon. Like so they're not apparently just like kind of ditching that forever. That appears to be something they may return to. And it sounded like Mara herself was very interested in that and in Callus. So I don't think we have seen the last of that whole situation either.
Was it in this? I was just going to say, was it in like the storyboard cinematic where I say those because like the ink blot ones, whatever you want to call them, was that where we saw kind of the look of the director with, again, still the darkness, like the little twirls and stuff? And we saw something like that recently, like that same image at the end of Season of Arrivals. I saw that somewhere recently again, and I was like, so they're not leaving it alone, but also on the other side, I was like, they haven't touched it either. So again, I want to see what they do more with the darkness. So as you said, with
they said they're not attacking us on purpose. Like they have some sort of greater purpose here.
Right.
So the thing that strikes me is that like this year of Savathûn, they have to sort of finish off the whole Hive story because we sort of already have an ending to the Cabal and even the Fallen, right? Like we know where those stories are ending, right? The Vex, I don't know if they'll ever this next year sort of has to end the Hive story because we know the next 2 years of Destiny are probably going to be darkness, whatever the heck that is, and they're going to be focused on whatever the greater threat is, named Nightfall and the final shape. So I'm wondering if this is like what loose ends do they have to tie up with the Hive? Like to me, Paul, you mentioned Xivu Arath earlier. I don't see him coming into like the limelight. What's that? Sorry. Sorry, not the Hive change their genders all the time. I don't see her coming into the limelight because to me it's like, you know, Daredevil and the Marvel, like they'll give her her own show, but you know, she's never shown up in Civil War. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that she's ever going to show up in the Witch Queen story or anything like that. I think we might kill her during the season actually, or during the extra long, you know, 30th anniversary thing or something like that, just because we've not seen her mentioned really in any of the main content.
She's always in the background. Like that's the thing is like, oh, it's Xivu Arath's forces doing this and doing that. And like right now Caiatl is fighting Xivu Arath. That's what Caiatl's doing. Like they're having like space battles. And then as Kog said, Xivu Arath was the one to take Osiris's light.
Yep.
Xivu Arath is the one hunting Savathûn, which is why Savathûn is like hiding. It's just that like I would be surprised if we never had a direct confrontation with Xivu Arath. I guess it is a little weird because it is one character that is kind of so omnipresent and yet not seen at all. We never hear directly from Xivu Arath. Even really, I can't even think of lore books. There might be some, but I have not heard from Xivu Arath really in any way. So I mean that may change, but like I don't want another year building up Xivu Arath as like
for sure.
New Hive thing. So like I would be amazed if this didn't come to a head either, as you say, at some point in this 6-month season or in the Witch Queen. At any time, if it's delayed beyond that, I'm like, okay, this has been a bit too long, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say
maybe it'll be someone that Savathûn kills as soon as she gets the light. It'll just be like a show of force, like, oh, she kills Xivu Arath in like the opening cutscene of the Witch Queen or something, just to kind of
not opposed to it. But I know some people would be mad about not getting to fight the Hive God of War.
Maybe a dungeon boss. If we ally ourselves with Savathûn, maybe the dungeon as we
go. They are doing a lot more dungeons now.
Yeah. We're gonna have 3 over the next like 16 months, which is gonna be absolutely crazy. It is weird though, because by the way, shout out to Biafin. I know they're working on this big like lore project. Did you guys see the concept video he did for the stuff that they're working on? Did you see the concept they did for Xivu Arath? Like,
both of their concepts were good.
Yeah, please let me fight that Xivu Arath, because like the God of War, it just looks like an absolute just beast out there in the Hive. And then Savathûn.
I felt so bad for them, but they did this awesome Savathûn art, and then Bungie immediately revealed Savathûn. It's like promotion for this season.
Wasn't it like a day later?
They both look good. They're just very different.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because like to Travis's point with the Hive, it feels like one of those lore pieces where we find out that Ziva Rathat took Osiris's light. We also find out that a lot of these Hive soldiers are now pledging their fealty to Ziva, and they feel disrespected by Savathun. That first Osiris went in there and killed Crota's kids or whatever it is before he got caught out there, and then just her actions and I guess betraying the whole worm and sword logic stuff. So that part's interesting. I definitely want to go back with Mara though. There was some interesting stuff. I don't know if you caught this, Paul, where I forgot where I read it in law. It was a conversation with her and Petra, and it was more along the lines like, I have a real master plan for what to do with Crow instead of this thing that he has been exhumed to become. And I thought that was chilling. Like, she still has a little side things that she's weaving behind the scenes.
She wanted him to like get the light, but to still be Aldrin. That was it, right? Yeah.
But there's I'm trying to remember. I know that's the main conversation that you go up into the thing next to the seasonal content. Yeah. But I believe it's a lore piece that I read or something to that effect, where she is talking to Petra, and the effect is like, I have a master plan to kind of, I don't know, like she kind of reverse this process, but like to bring back the Aldrin she knows, not this. She looks at him as this detestable thing as a guardian. She does not look at him the same, and she still has ultimate plan. And then she even gives a safeguard to Petra to say something to the effect, well, if it doesn't go right, we got measures for that. Like if he doesn't take to whatever this transformation back to Aldrin is, you gotta catch it up. Maybe New Red's in there. He's a big lore guy, but I forgot where I just read it this week. I was like,
no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw that too. Yeah, so it's interesting because it creates this real dichotomy where like Mara is his literal sister, and yet her plan for Aldrin was always just to kind of have Aldrin become a guardian someday, and which involves him dying, first of all, like obviously. So she was willing to sacrifice that so she could have a guardian that was under her controller, but she didn't have to die. And now, so that's Crow, and she hates Crow because he's not her brother, so she's just trying to pull Aldrin kind of back out again. Whereas in contrast, you have Savathun, and like Savathun clearly was tricking Crow the whole time as Osiris, and yet if you read like the Savathun lore, the Hawkmoon lore especially, by the campfire where she's Osiris and she's like feeling like warm, fuzzy feelings of like actually liking us and Crow. Like I think Savathun probably has a better relationship with Crow and may genuinely like Crow than Mara has with Aldrin or Crow, because like maybe Savathun does have some secret plan for Crow, but I also think she might actually just kind of like him and just want to be friends with him. I don't know. I'm sure there's more to it than that. This guy's
not so bad.
I would trust Savathun with Crow more than I would trust Mara with Crow at this point.
And Crow is persistent. Like he still wants this audience. He wants to engage. It's almost like this father/mother figure that he had when she was imitating Osiris. And it's like a betrayal. But I kind of I have questions. I need to know kind of thing. Whereas everyone else is like, look, you're talking to the witch queen, the queen of deception. You are going to get manipulated.
Yeah,
it's a funny thing.
I will say the one thing that doesn't work for me this season with this whole thing we're talking about is the fact that Crow still doesn't know who he was or what he did. This has gone too long now.
Yeah,
it doesn't even make sense that he couldn't have found out on his own at this point. Like, Aldrin killing Kate is like a historical event. Like everyone would know that, and everyone would be talking about it. Like he could have. There are a million ways he could have found out on his own.
Ask one of the random workers in the helm.
Yeah, exactly. Like we should have told him as his friend at this point. Like it doesn't really make sense to me that we have been keeping it secret for this long. When and even the end result of this is like. So, like, that was a different dude. I'm not that dude. He might be coming back. But, like, we don't know who we were before we were Guardians. Like, we don't question who, Zavala or Ikora were, like, as people before they were, risen. Like, this plot point doesn't really quite sit right with me. And, like, I wonder how they're going to handle it when it finally is revealed, which could be the end of the storyline. Maybe Savathun tells him. But, I don't know. It's just gone on too long for me, I think.
No, I agree. I think it's weird. They're almost throwing it in our face jokingly because like everyone knows but him. And it's just like, so to me, the only thing I can think of is they do have some big reveal moment, to try to encapsulate this for him as a character, because it really makes no sense as to why he has just not been told straight up. Or maybe it's Savathun, or herself that does it. I don't know. It's interesting why they're holding on to this for so long. I agree with you, Paul. Like, it's very weird that this just is dragged on so long.
Because it's forbidden to look into your past, guys. Come on, follow the rules.
Yes.
What you do?
Know. I mean, I'm glad they didn't drag out the Osiris thing for another 6 months, because at that point that got so obvious where I'm like, okay, they have to just like reveal it now. And they did. That was like kind of perfect timing for it at the beginning of the season. But the whole Crow thing is just, it's literally been, we're approaching a full year now at this point, and like it's time.
Agreed.
Well, it's been a lot of fun so far exploring the story, Shattered Realm, astral alignment when it works, as you said, and the lore is... I still am so intrigued with the lore, just to know that we know where we're heading in Witch Queen. We have so many months to get there. And we know we've got, this is week 5, so we have 5 more weeks, basically, potentially of story beats-ish if they go that long with it. I don't know if they're going to do an epilogue. I don't know if...
It'll be 3 based on the quest steps.
Oh, yeah. Because 7's the end
and
of
lore
the quest.
Entries for the radio messages, yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know if they're gonna, if they had an epilogue planned, if the 30th is there this kind of go between story. I don't really know, but honestly, I will say everything you guys are saying. It's like, if you've ever enjoyed the lore at all and you haven't paid too much attention, find some way to catch up on it, because the story is actually in a really fantastic place right now.
Really is.
Absolutely.
Doing a great job.
Something that isn't in a fantastic place right now, or at least it's very debatable, and that's Trials.
It's a fantastic place. What are you talking about?
Fantastic.
I was like,
is it?
A lot of people.
I'm being serious.
Awesome.
So the first 2 weeks have been what seemed like Bungie, for one, some people saying, hey, the renewed PvP focus. They're talking about it every single week. So if nothing else, we got to give them credit that finally took a little while to get there. They're talking about Crucible. They're messing with Crucible. Crucible Labs is coming back, which is going to be Trials Labs. But I wanted to get your guys' take on the past weekend with matchmaking. For those of you guys that don't know, matchmaking this past weekend was adjusted because it changed where when you had a flawless card, you were now in a flawless matchmaking pool separate from anybody who had not gone flawless. So even if you reset your card, started over at 0 wins, you were still you were in a flawless pool. So who played, who had a good time, who didn't? Let's hear it. I'm curious. Cognito, you go first, because
okay.
Yeah, you get yours out of the way.
For the first time, he got carried.
Yeah, I got.
I saw that. Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, I got flawless for the first time.
Nice.
I've never been flawless in D2. I want to be remiss if I shout out the homie DJ Oros from the clan. That's my guy. He was like, Cog, if you don't hurry up and get flawless with us, he was like, the whole clan's gonna be flawless except you. No, I'm just joking. But all jokes aside, we did it late. Obviously on Monday, I believe. So at that point, I don't know what the queue situation was at that point with the flawless stuff, but yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun. You probably, first 3 to 4 matches, honestly, were stomps. We were killing stuff. I was literally doing my thing. There's no doubt. Once we got match 6 or 7, it got a little spooky. It definitely got more intense. And we able to pull it out first time at the Lighthouse. Got me a Reed's Regret. Didn't get the God roll, but people are telling me my triple threat firing line will eventually be better once
you got a triple tap firing line.
That's a pretty damn good roll.
What I got.
Yeah,
that's very good.
That's one of the 2
bugged right now, but
yeah,
that's probably the second best roll.
Yep. That's one of the 2 God rolls. Yeah, that's one of the 2 that you want.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Like I've never been flawless, so I was like, why is my weapon change color? Like it was so many things I didn't know. I was like, this was a whole new world to me. It was like being in the VIP section of the club. Yeah, I was like, wow, y'all have drinks like this and food like
shopping
this.
at a Whole Foods for the first time after
God.
Bro, this was like being VIP. I got to see what the life Travis was living all this time, that I was a part of it now. You know what I'm saying? So it just felt good, to be brought up into his world. But
in this metaphor, is Travis the bouncer who doesn't want anyone to come
he
into the
wasn't
club?
letting nobody in, man. And like this, I have
I'm sorry.
Never been what I've said. Never been what I've said ever. You guys keep
your
casting that on me. I've never said I want fewer people to go to Lighthouse. I've never said that.
I had my elitist coupon. I was ready. I said, hey, I can get in. I'm teasing him.
Killing me.
But all jokes aside, look, it felt good. It's never happened before. The loot was great. Regrinding was great. Utilizing the secondary, what is it? The other, trying to win again once you've made it, to try to farm adepts.
Yep.
Probably got smashed very quickly. I mean, like in the second one. So we were definitely in that pool, and I felt the effects immediately. So look, it's debatable. I'll let you guys talk about what's right or wrong. But my overall experience, I was happy, man. It was something. And shout out to King. He got follow us again.
Yep.
More people are playing. I like to see the pool where it's at, but I definitely understand we still have work to do. We're still not in this nirvana state of everything, but my experience was positive. So I'm curious about the great debaters here, how they feel, how their week went, how their experience went.
Round 1, fight. No. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
All right, I'll go. So this weekend was, I would say, even more all over the place than the first weekend. So when I first started on Friday right away, it was like it was better than it was previously. Some people got out of the flawless pool got into the flawless pool right away. It was bugged. Then they turned on later that night. So by that night, I think I was like at 60% win rate or something, which is a lot higher than I would normally be. And it felt better. And then the next day, I played I think late Saturday, and by that point, even more people had cleared out of the pool. So I kept getting into games where it was mostly randoms versus randoms, but all of us were so bad. It was like a coin flip in terms of how a game would go, because you'd see the other team. There's no gilded flawless people there, and then everyone's using random loadouts, and you're like, okay, we got this. And then you look at your team, and they have somehow even worse loadouts, and you're like, oh my god. And so it's like a total. It's all over the place. And so some of those games were fun, but then some of those where it's I'm not good enough to carry 2 people, so if they're bad enough, I'm gonna lose. Right. And Sunday, I teamed up with some actual readers.
Okay.
And I played with these 2 guys from Sweden who probably the best people I've ever played with. They were phenomenal. So they took me flawless. I actually did okay. I wasn't being totally carried or anything. I was doing all right. But that was in the flawless pool. They had already gone flawless. So we were a stack 3 stack,
good
playing
data.
other stack 3 stacks the whole time. So it was very intense. It was just sort of like old school trials, but I think we lost our first card, but we squeaked it out in the second one.
Okay.
And a couple of games after that. So I ran the full spectrum. And I guess, so I know Travis has this debate. So I know your argument before was last weekend, it was just too easy to get flawless. It was too easy to carry people to flawless multiple times because there was no flawless pool, any of that. In theory, isn't the flawless pool kind of what you were asking for? Because wouldn't it, once you're there, doesn't that kind of retain the challenge of trials? Isn't that one of the things that you were kind of wanting the most is for being flawless to mean something? So at least after the first time you get flawless, after that, it's a real challenge in that pool. So did you have an issue with that? Or I'm just curious what you thought of this weekend, given how different it was.
Yeah, a few things. One, the flawless pool appeared to not be working pretty much the whole weekend. So I played quite a bit of trials, and while I was still on my first card before we went flawless, and this was late, it was on Sunday that I played, we were going up against people that had already been flawless that weekend. So I don't know what the matchmaking rules are, but that wasn't working. And then on the other end, when we were flawless, we were also going up against people who had not gone flawless. So I'm not 100% convinced that it was working 100%.
It's not impossible. They said they would try to do it. So theoretically,
it was. I would say it was 40% of the time we were either side of the fence. It was more than I would have thought. Okay. The other thing is that because you've already gone flawless, it sort of takes the tournament out of the game, which was kind of one of the things. So let me just get some the crux of my issue, because obviously I said a long time ago that if they ever added matchmaking to trials, that it would cease to be trials, and that to me I thought was bad. The reason I think that that's bad isn't because I want fewer people to go to the lighthouse or for going to the lighthouse to mean something. I really don't care about that. I want there to be an end game activity for PvP players who are interested in improving and playing against other sweaty people. And there's currently no mode in the game to do that. Trials has aspired to be that in the past, and sometimes it's gotten close. It's never really fully realized it. But them adding matchmaking is them saying, okay, we're no longer going to even shoot for that as a goal. We're going to go the other way. And we're going to try to make it where it's more accessible. And then that means that there is no end game activity for people in PvP. And currently there is no end game activity for PvP players. There just isn't. And so that is my problem, is that I want there to be an end game PvP activity in Destiny. And right now there's a very big void there. And I don't know that they definitely don't have a solution for it, but I don't know if they have an interest in adding something like that in the future. And so them adding matchmaking to me was them giving up on that idea that there should be an end game activity for PvP players who are looking to play against their peers and level up in the Crucible.
But isn't a flawless only playlist even harder than Trials was before? Kind of, because
no, it's not.
Why? I know you said you were matching against people who weren't flawless, but like at least in theory, if it works as it's supposed to, shouldn't that be better? Because like you're mostly going to be running into like it's like 90% 3 stacks there.
If 50% of the player base is going flawless every weekend, then not really. Like the previous situation with Trials was more competitive because the player base was low and the people there were really sweaty. Now the player base is so big, you're playing against people who've gone flawless who, maybe aren't the best players. And there's no rank system. What we need, and we've talked about this with other PvP people on the show, is we need comp to actually go back to trying to be a ranked playlist rather than a wheel that you kind of grind yourself through and then you start over at the beginning. It needs to, like Rocket League, where there's a diamond tier and there's a gold tier, and you kind of work your way up the ranks and you play against your peers and you try to improve. There's nothing like that in Destiny right now. And Trials was the closest thing we had to it because of the tournament style bracket. And I don't think that the solution of saying, okay, we're going to make this mode more casual, but then there's going to be a separate playlist for people who've succeeded, because the bar for succeeding is also low. So there's just, as my experience was, that I never really was in any danger of losing. We didn't use our mercy. We didn't lose any matches. It was just sort of like, we weren't even really communicating, if I'm being honest. It was sort of,
there was so rare though. Like,
even
when I'm on good teams, like it is still hard. Like,
are you playing on PC? Are you playing on PC?
No, so I'm not playing on PC. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah, just basically my experience was that it felt like a casual kind of like play with your friends and get some wins and get some loot. Which, just to be clear, I'm okay with that existing in Destiny, and I'm okay with that mode being Trials. Like, if people want to go to the Lighthouse, I'm not like, oh, we should have exclusive loot or whatever. But I think it would be cool if I got like a little icon that just said I was in diamond rank, or if I got a different skin of a weapon that let me change my weapon into a different color or gave me a glow, something like that showed that I was part of that community and gave me even a cosmetic reward for that sort of thing. But it's just that there isn't that in Destiny, and matchmaking and all the changes. If you read the TWAB, all of their goals are basically about like making it more accessible. Fine if they want to do that, but they've already got so many modes that are like that. Iron Banner is accessible PvP mode. Comp is at this point an accessible PvP mode because of the changes they've made to the solo playlist and all that stuff. There is no endgame PvP mode, and I wanted Trials to be that, and it's not. So I just need something else. I need them to.
I agree with your idea about turning comp into a true ranked playlist. I think not enough games have true ranked playlists, and Destiny's really never even done that. Even old Trials wasn't really a true.
It was the closest we got.
Right? Yeah, it was closest. But like,
that's what I told. That's what I told.
An old school Halo system with actual rank. I think that would be beneficial in Destiny. I don't see a reason for them not to do that. This is one thing I've always thought about Trials, where it's like, I think the fundamental structure of Trials is just not really designed to be what you want it to be.
That's what I've been telling this boy.
Hey. To be clear, Cog, you keep telling me Trials has never been that thing you want it to be. But guess what else
you wanted it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's never been what I want it to be. But here's the other flip side of that argument. It's also never been what you want it to be.
No, it is. It is. I love it.
Now it is. Now it is the thing. I love it. You love it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like more people playing.
But it's also never been that until recently. Guess what? You can change things in games.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I could flip the same way, because when you were happy when you were playing against this low population where it was sweat on.
I was never happy. when have I ever been like, Trials isn't a great stage?
Which one is it?
I'm just gonna take a small guess here.
Here's the thing, Cog. The Trials state was in a middle ground between being an endgame activity and being a casual activity.
It was no middle ground. I would say it was closer. It was dead. It was dead. What part don't you understand? It's dead versus thriving. And that we can tweak. You're misinterpreting that what we were playing prior to this season was some active great mode. It was
no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it was bad. I have always said Trials is broken, and I would rather have them made these changes than done nothing. 100%. But my point is, they could have fixed it by going more hardcore and making it more rewarding.
Your issue is matchmaking.
Bro, they could have.
Matchmaking included has now tarnished your great legacy. It just, you're so great. You're in this 1 percentile. You don't represent the whole group of people. The majority of people are actually challenged and having that experience that you want. You are in this small percentile because of your greatness. That is not Bungie's fault that you are that great, that you are smashing everyone.
Yeah, can I take a pause for a second? Hold on.
My point is, it was broken. They could have fixed it by curating the experience and making it more endgame focused, or they could have made it more casual. They chose casual. I wish that they would have doubled down and tried to dedicate it, because there are ways. Cog, we can at least agree that there's a way for a more sweaty PvP activity to exist in Destiny and be successful
for the game. Like, they made it better for like 70 to 80% of the player base. Whereas if they went your way, it would have made it better for the 10% of the existing trials.
You guys are making a lot. You guys are making a lot of assumptions on that.
Here's the fear mongering again.
Because if it made it more competitive, though, it would not have been an overall benefit to the game.
Paul.
I think it would have been an overall benefit to a group of people, but it would have been such a small group of people, it wouldn't have mattered.
Why would it have been
a better
benefit to some extra glows, and this is over.
Okay, so here's
an extra glow and an emblem and a parade with roses down the thing.
Talk about Trials when you go there more than once. All right,
see, that's what this is. This is this elite. See, the elitist is coming out. This is what I want to hear.
I'm just saying.
This is that true elite behavior that you've been holding in.
I spent a lot of time with this mode, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so here's how they could have done it, guys. They could have implemented, if they wanted to go the other way, which I'm not saying that they needed to or whatever. I'm okay with them doing comp. I just want the mode to exist. That's all I'm telling you guys. I want there to be a competitive mode. So what they could have done is they could have implemented a rank-based system in Trials. That means that the people who are the sweatiest of the sweaty get matched with the sweatiest of the sweaty. They get to keep their 1% mode. And then the people that are like Paul, they get to play against people in their bracket. That already exists in games. So my point is, if they could have made a mode like that, made it more competitive, not dropped the player base, not made it exclusive to the 1%, there was a competitive solution. They chose not to do that. So of course I'm going to be disappointed as somebody who does not have that in the game now. But my point is,
I just don't see how that isn't in the game now. Because, like, listen to me, you're talking about a mode for you and a mode for me, but I feel like that exists. The mode for me right now, when I'm not being carried, is me just kind of farming for wins casually, going 7 and 20 on a card, and yet getting a bunch of engrams, and like, it's fine. I got way more last weekend, the weekend before this, I got more loot that weekend than I've ever gotten in like all my trials things combined.
And I don't think that's bad, by the way.
For the upper echelon, you have going flawless and you have flawless card farming. There is no more rewarding activity in the game than being able to go like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 wins on a flawless card, because you're getting Ascendant shard drops, you're getting Adept drops. This is the most loot endgame PvP people have ever had, and you were rewarded for being the best of the best. Like, I don't know if the matchmaking is perfect yet, and you still might be running into easy games occasionally. Like, I ran into a couple really easy games on a post-flawless card, which seemed weird, but like, I feel like the end game farm is there and is rewarding for the best of the best players in a way that I've never seen in PvP, not in any mode of trials, any version.
You're right on the rewarding part. They could have added the rewarding part without changing trials and adding matchmaking and all that stuff, though. I think all the changes they made to trials, except for matchmaking, helped crossplay, making it more rewarding, letting people play on a card that had more than 3 losses. All that stuff is amazing, and I would have been 100% if they added that. But the I'm not worried about how rewarding it is personally. I just want to be able to play against my peers and feel like I'm improving and playing in my bracket and that sort of stuff. And so I'm not looking at it from like how much loot per hour am I getting. I'm looking at it from like, am I playing competitive matches? And my answer right now is absolutely not. Every match I play is like, all right, this is hilarious. Like it's just, you know, it's not the same mode.
Speaks to your greatness, but continue.
I just want to be able to play against the people that are at that level, or there just needs to be a ranked system.
Pool that Paul mentioned.
Flawless pool is nothing.
I just don't know if Destiny is that game. I honestly,
I know. I'm with you.
It's just not that competitive of a game.
That's what I try to.
There are lots of competitive players. There's lots of competitive players. We get overlooked.
Can I talk for a second?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Say what you're saying.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I've just been letting it go for a little bit.
Awful.
Nope. You're good. No, it's fine. I was letting you guys try and get all the pieces out to try and figure out where it's at. Travis, I think what you want is a rework of comp. More than anything else, I think that is going to serve you the best. Because you're looking for
only
ranks.
Because I've been pushed out of trials. You know what I mean?
No, but okay.
They could have done a rework of trials.
No, but okay. So here's the thing. You want.
You hear this? You got to hear the mentality of this man.
So no, let me ask you this question first.
I mean, it used to be the mode for guys like me, and now it's like, well, Travis, there's this other mode that we made called just this mode. Like, you know what I mean? But
Travis, let me ask you this question. You want more people playing trials? Yes or no?
Correct.
But you and yet you don't want matchmaking.
I don't care about. I mean, I think matchmaking would be okay if there was ranked playlist, but there isn't. If there was skill-based matchmaking,
he wants the comp system
in trials, then 100% they could do matchmaking.
He wants the comp system in trials, which I actually agree with him. I wouldn't be opposed.
Well, here's the thing: the comp system is not what I want in trials because the comp system is terrible. It is not ranked. It is not skill-based.
Similar idea, but it just wasn't in effect. It wasn't properly implemented. Right?
I don't want it to be. And then you prestige and reset your rank. I want it to be seasonal. Everybody's at bronze 3, and then you work your way up the rocket.
I think that's a good idea. That would be a good system.
Fire. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I'm just with Paul. It's just like you just beat your head against the wall against something that this game has just never really been. And I'm just like,
because they've never done it successfully doesn't mean they never will. And I think there's people like me who want it in Destiny, and it's our responsibility to be like, this is missing. Can you please advocate for it? Right? Like, I'm not saying it's ever going to happen. Dude, Destiny has never been a balanced game, and they've never had a true endgame PvP mode. It's not like I'm like, oh yeah, this deserves to be Destiny.
I get you.
I'm entitled. I'm just saying, I need to speak my, I'm just
absolutely. I just think you're in like the minority of the minority because like even
he's in this super small bracket.
Good players seem to be embracing this to a certain extent. Like, I mean, I don't know who the like literal top 100 ranked Destiny players in the world, but like, you know, the sweaty streamers who are always doing a bazillion carries a week.
I'm not that good at PvP. Just full transparency. All I'm saying, every time we have a PvP guy on this show, Paul. They say like, yeah, we need a ranked system because there's no competitive endgame. They say that every time.
But they're probably not as anti what the changes just made as you are. I would probably.
I'm not anti the changes. I'm just
anti. Sound like it,
bro. You anti.
Okay, to be fair, he has said that he prefers the current system, unless I'm misunderstanding, to what it was before this.
Paul, we ain't gonna let him weasel into this. No, this man said they could have done everything and it would have been fine. But as soon as they put matchmaking on, that was when they lost him. Don't let him get out of here. We got to hold his feet to the fire. It's the matchmaking that he doesn't like.
Understands your hatred of matchmaking.
You don't know that I'm wrong because they never tried it my way. My point is, if they had done all those first changes and then held off matchmaking for like a month, we'd have a lot more data. We'd have more data,
and we'd have 20% of the players that are playing now because people are not.
We don't know that.
Not going to play.
I know that.
People are not going to LFG.
They're not going to play LFG, bro. That's the thing.
This was the mantra I've been saying for years. It was like the single biggest way to
was the barrier of entry that won't get people
not,
in.
If it's not in the game, staring you in the face.
Are all three of you guys also for matchmaking and raids? Just to be clear.
No.
Okay,
because
then fuck you is my answer.
It's apples and oranges. It's apples and
No.
oranges.
That is
No,
Raids
dude,
are
because
I know how to shoot people and kill them. I understand communicating with people would be better in doing that, but like raid mechanics,
Thank you.
it does not.
Thank you.
It does not
Please, Paul.
lend itself
This
to it
is
to
the most
same degree.
fallacious argument. If your one concern is increasing the player base, we'd have 20%. It's better to have 60 than 20. Then we could increase the raid playlist by 60% by adding matchmaking. So let's do it.
Wait. So you implying that raid
Results in
mechanics
worse? It would result in worse experience.
So
of like
does
80% of
Trials.
raids before.
So
I don't
does
think that's true.
Trials.
I don't think Trials is a worse experience.
Trials is a worse
Besides
experience
for you.
without people you can talk to. It is a worse experience. If you're talking
But it's
to 3
playable,
people and they're all
but
coordinated.
people are going solo flawless for the first time ever and being happy.
But
Maybe they
Paul,
got lucky to do
you
it.
guys
but
all make the same argument to me. Travis, if you don't like Trials and with matchmaking, then just come in with a full crew. Well, if you don't like matchmaking and raid, then just come in with a full crew and raid. Why not just add matchmaking for the people who want it? How does it hurt your experience?
It doesn't hurt my experience.
Okay, so here's
add it. Then add it because I'm right.
No,
right.
no, you're not. Okay, no.
Then add it because I'm right.
You
completely
raids are
wrong.
mechanically set up. It is not the same thing.
It's not the same.
Whatever.
Crucible is different.
We can all watch a Rick Kakis video and figure out how to get through the raid, and then no mics required.
Before the raid starts with matchmaking, you have to watch a Rick Kakis video, like the whole 15 minutes like plays before you raid.
So here's the thing. Like what is PvP? There are many ways to get trained for PvP. Do you shoot the other do you shoot the red guy?
Exactly.
Yeah. You shoot the red guy. Shoot and kill.
The objective. See,
now there are levels of skill.
There are your PvE is showing.
Phase.
Your PvE
no. Okay,
is showing.
Listen, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. That high-end PvP requires communication and teamwork and strategy.
Of course.
However, if you're in match-made trials and you are in theory a team of 3 randoms versus another team of 3 randoms, none of you are communicating. You still know how to play PvP. You are still getting the game done, and it is still pretty even because you're all on the same playing field. Whereas that is not true on a raid because you're working against the AI and you have to do these raid calls.
You are 100% correct that it is possible, but it is without a doubt a worse experience if you cannot talk to your teammates. And I would just say it's the same of raids. It is a worse version of the experience. So my point is, if a worse version can exist for the people who want it, it's not forced. Why can't you do that with raids? This is the double standard.
The other thing is
on the PvP.
No, this is not a double standard.
Because I have three PvE players telling me how a PvP mode should be run, and they're oversimplifying.
Because of matchmaking,
it's
unplayable.
No. Okay, hold on.
Couldn't you say this for any PvP game? Like, there should be no randomized matchmaking in any PvP game.
I was like, people.
All I'm saying is that it is a markedly better experience when you can communicate with your teammates. 100%.
Okay, so you take something like
every game in every mode is a better experience if you're playing with friends and teammates. That doesn't mean matchmaking.
Why can't the worst version exist in raid? If it, I'm not saying it shouldn't exist
because raids are very specific.
Guys,
require
hold on.
Precision teamwork and like exact literal callouts, like audio callouts that are 100% necessary for the most part, unless you come up with some crazy workaround. Like that is why it's in its own category and why everything except everything except that has it. Like that is the reason.
So here's the difference between
I get what you're saying. Travis, blind and deaf teams raid, so I don't know.
Right, let you talk, and then we get Travis. We get right back.
Be muted on your guys' side because I'm like streaming over here.
No, we're just ignoring you.
Cool. Love that. I'll just kick y'all out. It's cool. I'll just be solo, show up here and talk.
It's just passion. It's just passion, brothers.
No, all I want. Get it out. When it comes to PvP, I'm gonna have like 50 clips from this show, and one of them is gonna be me just screaming into the mic over here. Nobody can. I'm just like, I'm muted.
Anything about me versus you. This is great. Continue.
Yeah. No. So what I want to say is like, you take PvE versus PvP. One, you have 6 people trying to work together versus 3 or 4. You also have a potential 1 to 2 hour mode versus a 5-hour mode. So you have a larger time commitment. You also have a lot more mechanics, as Paul is saying. You have to figure out, what do I have to do here? You have 6 people that run into the start of Vault of Glass. No, what if they haven't been there before? They don't know they need to stand on the plates, defend this thing. What if they get off, they do this thing? What do you do in PvP, in every PvP game you've ever done? You can do Apex 3-player, high-level crazy stuff. The only thing I wish they would add is ping system, but that's a different story. But like, what do you need in PvP? Shoot the people over there. Now, am I saying no, Travis? Look at me.
That's the rules. Those are the rules.
Those are the rules.
That is
Those
the
are the rules of
objective.
the
True, Travis.
You might not do it right, but that is the objective.
Now, at a very high
now
level
they're
in
adding
PvP,
objectives to trials. So is
At a very-
is that a raid mechanic? Is that complicated enough for you guys?
For dear life now.
no,
No,
when
I'm not.
it comes to high levels,
random
No, I'm
teams, I'll
talking
say
to
that.
three. I'm talking to three people who are never going to see my point of view because they just don't understand.
no.
it.
Like
And,
when you,
that's
we don't
fine.
understand. Okay.
I've like when you play with high level people, like Paul played with those two people, and he's probably like, these people are working on a different level. Like a couple times I've played with like people who are working on a different level. I've seen that work, and it's like that is astounding level of skill. But again, what are they still doing? They're communicating to make that shooting the other person more efficient, and they're much, 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 much better at it than the average skilled person is going to be in matchmaking. Check. I get there's a huge disparity in skill, but what do you have to do? You still just have to kill the other person. When it comes to a raid, when it comes to matchmaking, and this is where it's like I've understood Bungie for a very long time, when you go into matchmaking in a raid, you have to understand how to do the mechanics. Like, okay, Templar, 6 people who don't know what they're doing, and you go in. It's like, okay, figure it out. They're likely never going to figure that out if they can't talk. Can you put 6 people in a PvP match and have them figure out what to do? Yeah, make the number go up on the scoreboard. That's it. The general functionality in PvP is very simple. There are huge disparities in skill level, and I completely understand that. All I'm saying is matchmaking in PvP broadens the pool, and that is Bungie's entire goal. They're trying to get more people in this mode. If we can ever get
Aren't they trying to get more people in raids? I'm
Because
worried about the player base of raids. It's just
They
such
did.
a low
Are you?
count, you know, it's such a failed node.
He is right about time too, because
Yeah.
a failed match-made trials game is like 4 minutes. It's like if you're in a bad team, you can't communicate, everyone's doing their own thing, and you die, that game is over in 4 minutes. If you try and do a match-made raid and you don't give up, it'll probably take you like 12 hours. Like to me, that is the difference in the design of the mode. Also, like in addition to the other stuff we said, I think time is a factor too, because it takes enough work to even get 6 people together in a raid. But like, if that's a bad group, it stays with you for infinitely longer than like, okay, we match made for one bad trials game that sucked, let's do a new one.
Yeah,
Then just don't play on the
totally
match-made
different.
playlist.
Why don't what?
Then just don't play on the match-made raid playlist.
No, but
you know?
there's a difference of like what they're trying to do now is they're trying to bring more people into trials. They're like, hey, you can farm reputation.
I know what they're trying to do, guys. Like, obviously, I get it. My point is that you guys know my point.
No,
I've
but
made my
like,
point a
but
million
the whole
times.
point is like, for one, matchmaking and PvP very different than PvE. You cannot say those are even. I'll die on that hill. But the other side is they're trying to get more people into this mode, and it's worked. And that's one of the. And you're
when have I ever said that's a bad thing?
Okay, but if you
Ever.
don't want
Oh, you
matchmaking
kind of did, because
if you don't want matchmaking in there,
you want more people in it, you want more people going flawless, but then that puts more people in the flawless pool, which makes that too easy. So,
but then the other thing is like,
I'm just saying it adds complexity that takes away from it being an endgame experience. At this point, I've just given up on trials being the endgame PvP experience, but then there needs to be something that is it. And I wanted trials to be that mode because it seemed like that's what they were trying to do. And they were in the spot where it just wasn't working. And they were like, all right, we could try to go one way or the other. And they went the way that I don't think they needed to go, because there's already a ton of PvP experiences that are more casual. And I don't know if trials on its own, it represents something that is unique or new from Iron Banner or the comp playlist or all the other stuff they have. And now the thing that they're missing is a competitive mode, like an endgame.
and maybe
mode.
that is
still don't have
something.
that.
Maybe that's something that they're working on, because remember the renewed focus. They even
Need
talked
like
about the
3,
maps.
4 casual modes.
No,
That's the only.
I guarantee you they are not working on it. I will agree with Travis that they probably do need it, and that would be a good addition in addition to the other stuff they've done. But like, given what they've done with people, like we don't even have an Iron Banner loot rework yet. Like they're not building a competitive ranked playlist. I'll tell you that right now. Unfortunately, but
I don't know if it's the game for him anymore because he's so passionate about it, and I'm just like, you know,
I don't think Tassi is the place for getting to that level. I just don't.
So look, I have plenty of other games I can play for competitive experience, and I'm going to be playing one this weekend, Halo Infinite, and that will be where I go when I want that, ultra sweaty
yeah,
experience.
bro. We talked about this. Yeah.
But I know, but Cog, here's the thing. The thing about Destiny, the reason we love it as PvP guys is because we get to take all of our achievements and bring it to a place where we get to put them to the test.
Oh, for sure.
And if there is no end game PvP guys, then people like me don't get that experience. We don't have a place where we get to go and put ourselves to the test, because Trials just got casualified. The comp playlist has been pretty casual for a long time now. Iron Banner isn't really,
all right, then tell me how big of a streak can you get on your flawless card this weekend? Let me know.
Right. That's what I was saying. It exists. It's just not in the fashion you want. It technically is what Paul and E is saying, in the flawless pool. That technically
requires the matchmaking to work. Because if you're 20-0 on a card, it should theoretically be matching you with people that are like 15-0, 20-0, 25-0 on a card. And then you'd be getting your hardest challenges. But it's clear matchmaking is not at that level yet, and you're just going to get a lot of easy games mixed in there too. So maybe if they just keep doing it and they can figure out matchmaking to a better degree, it'll get better. But I do understand why the matchmaking itself is not necessarily where it needs to be if you want only challenging games. But then you would have even more people complaining about that, I guarantee you, even that are high skill, because they don't want every game necessarily to be the most challenging sweatfest ever. So,
but they do want a certain amount of the players on the low end of the skill base to go flawless. They're trying to work that percentage, and so that pool of flawless players is always going to be
but a lot of those people, if you are struggling to get flawless and then you're dropped in the flawless pool, let me tell you, you're not going to be playing very much longer. And that's kind of the whole debate from this week is should that pool exist? Does that build too many walls? That's a whole other debate we haven't really even gone into. But so I don't know. I don't think it's getting diluted to the same degree. I think for every player that goes flawless once, you're probably getting only a couple that transition into farming the flawless playlist solo. Certainly, I think you'll get a lot more 3 stacks doing it. But solo, it's a nightmare. I think
we at least admit that my claim on Fireteam Chat, that if they added matchmaking to Trials, it would fundamentally shift what Trials was trying to be and effectively kill that mode on what it was trying to be. It would change the nature of it. That was my point when I said the spirit of Trials will be gone. There will be no endgame activity. I think
kill the mode is a little extreme, but I agree in the sense that
it's more alive now. But
am I a good enough PvP player where I should have a full set of Trials armor and a bunch of Godwell Trials guns? Maybe not. Maybe that should have been kept for the most elite of elite things, and yet
I don't even care about that.
But that's part of it, because a lot of PvP players, maybe that's not your complaint specifically, but a lot of high-end PvP players were we're not rewarded enough, and we don't want necessarily people who aren't skilled enough to be getting these rewards that were supposed to be reserved for us. That is an argument. So that aspect of it has changed, and it is a lot easier to at least get loot in the mode. But I would say for 99% of the player base, Trials is still what would be classified as a quote endgame challenge. And I get that it may not be for you anymore or feel that way, but I don't think that's a widely shared belief.
Yeah, it basically never was the right mode for me for all of D2. I think D1 it showed potential for being that endgame activity, and I had hoped that they would work and develop it on being endgame activity. But I agree with you guys. It was broken for so long. They needed to change something. I just wanted them to go the other way and find a way to add a skill-based system where they could get more people in there without taking away some of the stuff I thought was core to Trials. And one of the things I thought was core was sticking with 7 people the entire way through. If you add matchmaking, you can't do that. You can't stick with your fire team for 7 matches.
Have you done solo, Travis? Or how much solo have you done?
I have.
How did that? Were you carrying your team? How did that work for you?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I was at the top of the leaderboard. I had somewhere I lost actually because we went up against 3 stacks and you just can't win. But the thing that disappointed me was that if you're playing that mode, you don't get a sense of what Trials is. The only thing is that the rules are slightly different. But you don't get the hey, I'm going with this team all the way to Lighthouse. We're going to win 7 games in a row. That's just dead if you use any matchmaking because it's a different.
I don't know if that's
different team every night. No, it is.
I don't know if it's dead because I've had scenarios. I'll be honest. I cannot speak to this one. I've had scenarios where I played matchmaking exclusively the first weekend. I've had scenarios where literally I'm the best player about 60 to 70% of my matches. After those matches, I got Xbox Live messages saying, "Hey, bro, would you like to link? Good GG." I've been getting GGs. I've been getting that kind of vibe, and people want to play. So I'm not going to say never, because I think if you do have a good experience with the randomness of matchmaking, you're going to want to maybe possibly link up with some people that can get you there. That's all I'm saying. Just my experience. I'm not saying
it's
that's
hard
everybody's.
to go solo flawless. Like I know people are doing it, and that requires a lot of luck.
Yeah, it is, and I don't know if I could do it, to be honest, just because it's like it's
so take that right there. Like if you're saying, shout out real quick to the Liz22 with the $5 super chat, maybe creating something competitive for which we make trials quote casual to get the player base up for now for more feedback, hence why they're doing trials labs. And I think that's like, whether you want to consider it trials, that's one thing, but I think them trying to get more people playing the playlists that they have is a good thing in general. And I think we all do agree that more people on the playlist is a good thing. Is the mode this hardcore thing that you wanted it to be? It may not be what you're looking for anymore. Maybe if they ever do
the same mode, it's also not the same mode, because you don't go with a fire team for 7 matches and climb the hill together. If you enter matchmaking, you're essentially not really getting the trials experience in that you set up a fire team, you're doing call outs.
You can do that.
I don't think it's necessarily.
You can do that.
I know it's an option, but guys, if I had the option,
but you can't make blanket statements and say that
I wouldn't get the same experience.
But
you wouldn't finish that match raid. That's the difference.
That it's the experience is gone because you can't, when you literally can still match up with 2 other people and still do that experience. So it's not gone. You got to be kidding.
The best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But if you ask me what is like essential to that mode, I would say being with a fire team for 7 matches, getting 7 wins together, that sort of stuff. And that is gone if you play the match made version. Right. Just like the whole concept of working together in a raid would be gone if you played the matchmade experience, which is why I brought up that facetious argument, right? Like, you guys know what a raid consists of. And I said, hey, I'm going to take away this thing that's super core to it. You guys would be like, wait, that's not a raid. And what if I told you,
they have matchmaking in raids. It's called guided games and no one plays it.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot that was a thing.
And you know why? Because the mechanics are so complicated, no one can do it.
So then let's take out the mechanics for the matchmade mode.
There's no mechanics being taken out of trials.
No, take out the mechanics from the raid of the matchmade mode.
That's not a raid,
right?
It's just a strike. You just go into the zones.
There you go. Make it a small.
That's actually kind of hilarious. I actually would kind of like that.
Do that, yeah. Why not?
You do need more strikes.
Yeah, there you go.
Vault of Glass is in the strike playlist.
The jumping puzzles would still kill
everyone. My point is, if you're taking away something that I think is core to trials, which is running with the team for 7 matches, then I get to do that when I imagine this hypothetical trial or raid matchmaking, right? So in this case, the core thing I'm taking away from you guys are the mechanics. There's no mechanics in raids anymore. It's just about killing things and then you shoot the boss, right? All the mechanics are gone. So then you guys would say, but without mechanics, it's not a raid. And I would go, yeah, I know. That's how I feel about trials.
That's
okay. All right. So would you be okay with a solo queue and then a separate 3v3? Would that?
I think that would be better. I think that would be better, but again, the solo queues, they're not really playing the same mode.
No, they're not, and you're gonna see very low flawless rates because again, it's a lot of luck.
Yeah.
If it's only
if it's all solo, yeah, I guess you're right. It probably
if it's all solo, there's gonna be luck involved. But I was like,
if it's all solo, it's a coin flip. I mean, you don't know, who you're gonna get on your team and how much you'll have to carry them or be carried. So
but that also goes into them trying not to divide this player base right now that they just built up. Like me personally, as a solo player. Whenever they do the solo labs, like I'm very curious to spend some time in there where I know every single match is going to be solo. And it kind of felt that way part of the way through the weekend. I played on Monday and most of them were a lot of solos, maybe some 2s and 1s. I don't know if I played against one. The one time I did, I got stomped, but a lot of them felt, like the solo match made matches, which is kind of what I was going for. So like they were kind of getting there. Now, granted, isolating the flawless. And even when we get to the TWAB, God knows when that's going to be. That is something they're actually looking to get rid of.
We haven't got to the 12.
No.
It's 5:30. We haven't got to the 12.
Oh, right. I forgot. Okay.
There's a 12. But the general idea here...
And the 12 has tons of trial stuff in it.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of a blend of everything we've already been talking
about. Yeah, it's like we've talked about a lot of stuff. I was like, we'll cover it a little bit. But still, the big thing is trials. I get the... Well, this is why I literally asked you last week the sanctity of trials, and you said no, but you turn around and say you want trials to be this one thing. So yes, you did complain about the sanctity of trials being this 3-person match made thing.
When people say the sanctity of trials, they say like, "Oh, he's trying to be a sweat lord who wants to pub stomp people.
No,
only the elite of the league can go to the lighthouse." And that's not what I'm saying at all. When I say the spirit of trials,
what I said.
Sanctity, I'm talking about like the way the mode's actually designed.
That's what
I wanted it to.
You're just one of the only people I've ever heard say like, "I just want to play the best people in Destiny." Like, that is just such a rare position. No, I believe.
I was like,
it's such a rare position.
And the guy we had on last week.
I understand why they're not designing modes around that, because you are such a tiny percentage.
But Paul, wouldn't you like it is if you could match only with people in your rank and then slowly go up and down that ladder and improve
that's a ranking system. That's something again that could come later
naturally
on.
with being like a middle of the road PvP player.
Yeah, but
like by default, that's how it is for me.
But because it's more of a crapshoot in the way that all of Crucible is set up right now, you're never really playing against people that you're designed that are going to be in that like golden area of you to improve with. You're going to play against people who are far below your level, people far above, and those are not instructive matches. Those are just like, they just make you not want to play anymore, right? And if
I
you
don't
could
know if
play
I can even
against
define an instructive match in Destiny.
But exactly, right? Because it's so Wild Westy, and I feel like Trials is now even more the Wild West than it used to be.
It is.
And
I will agree with you on that.
I would agree with that.
I just want there to be a mode where like I'm playing against my peers and you're playing against your peers, and you get a chance to improve at your level and your pace, and I do on mine. And Trials could have been that. I'm not saying it ever was, but it got close in D1, and
you're disappointed that it's never going to be that.
Exactly.
No, I understand your disappointment.
I feel like I get represented for saying that like Trials, had a certain like.
I don't think you're happy seeing these flawlesses though.
Those what?
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think you that happy with all these flawlesses running around.
I actually do.
If we being honest,
every time I see somebody going to the lighthouse, I'm like, yeah, people are playing Trials. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
but again, are you saying like, did they go to the lighthouse, or you didn't even play Trials? You just match made your way.
You playing another mode. You're on the kindergarten playground.
I feel exactly the same way you would feel if you saw somebody posting a photo of them at the end of Vault of Glass and they played the version with no mechanics. You would be like, well, you didn't really like get to do all the fun, like standing on plates and going to portal. And then I would be like, well, yeah, I feel that way about.
I love that false equivalency. I love it. That is the ultimate false equivalency. There's still hilarious.
My point is, I would feel the same way, because to me, part of Trials is going with the same team and improving with them and that sort of stuff. And you're not getting that if you like.
They're not getting that experience if because they're match made. They don't know what it is to stay with a team if they're playing exclusively that mode.
You were getting a worse experience in match-made Trials than if you were on a fire team communicating with people.
Yes.
But you would be getting a much worse, pretty much unplayable experience if you were in a raid not communicating with anyone. Like, it would be pretty much impossible to even like function as a mode.
But if you can change what Trials is in order for matchmaking,
you're not changing the rules of Trials. You're not changing the you're talking about taking the mechanics out of the raid, but like. It would be like changing Trials to like a lap race where you run circles around the Crucible course and there's no gunplay.
Like, I get what you're saying.
Obviously,
I'm using the holy cow of raids to get to it, and they are separate modes. I realize that, but my point is, if you can change the rules of Trials to make it fit matchmaking, which one of the rules was you stick with the same team and you work with them, then you can change the rules of the raid. So I'm choosing to remove mechanics and just make it basically a strike. And then people who post their photos with their raid loot doing the strike versions, you kind of understand, you're like, it doesn't hurt your experience, but you're also like, I wonder if they got it out of it the same thing that I got out of it by going to Trials. Like, that's how I feel about it. That's
like if you like went solo flawless, if you went solo flawless in Trials, it would almost be harder than if you were on 3 stacks. Sheer luck.
It's hard for the wrong reason. It's hard because the game mode is badly designed if you play solo queue, and so I don't think that that's like the same thing. Like, I want a well-designed difficult experience rather than like a one that's difficult because it's poorly designed. That's all. So
just made E leave.
I think he's doing push-ups actually.
He's about to do push-ups for advanced GG. Work it out. You get your push-ups on, man. We're gonna bring it back.
No, I'm good. I'm back.
Oh my goodness. So we got that out. We got our
Trials swap.
Yeah. So it took us 90 minutes.
Okay, so I joked because I made a thumbnail with these two going at it. And yeah,
No,
I was not that
Dog on
wrong.
his side,
I'm
and
trying
you
to
on
stay
his
out of
side,
it.
and me on my side going like this against 3. This was a massacre. It was not a boxing match. It was 3 people
Travis
jumping
is
me in an
trying to
alley.
solo queue the podcast here against the 3 stack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's not
they
going
say
well.
the chat was like, "Yo, Trav was going 1v3." Like, yo, he doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 1v3 match. 1v3 me, bro.
So what happened to this game? E? What else is going
Anyways,
on? What else
we've
is going
got
on?
this thing called a TWAB that comes out every week, and we had some words that they wrote about these wonderful topics that we've been discussing today so far. So let's talk about them.
Get it.
Anyway, man, that's just, I can't even do a clip. I just have to be like, go watch the episode. There's too much you're gonna miss.
Yeah. Thank you guys for doing that. I know we get heated here, but I respect all of you guys.
Yeah, and I love you. Know I love you, bro.
Of course.
I feel pretty strongly about this, but at the end of the day, it's a game, and I like that they're trying new stuff regardless. Like every time I see that they're doing stuff in trials in the TWAB, I'm like, hell yeah. Like they're at least paying any mind to it, because this ever since the relaunch, it has been just a horror show of like neglect. So and I'm glad I'm not the dog locked in the guitar or in the car with the windows rolled up anymore. That's what I felt like for the past year of trial.
Well, that's a terrible metaphor, and also please don't ever use the match made raid metaphor ever again. Anyways, moving on to the TWAB. So this week, normal Trials of Osiris playlist is replaced by Trials Labs Capture Zone. This new mode will still have elimination, but with the following changes. 30 seconds after the round starts, a capture zone is enabled. Players can capture this zone to win the round or just eliminate the other team. Capture zone has a waypoint from the start, so you know where it's going to be, including a countdown timer so everyone knows exactly when and where. The capture zone starts in the middle of the map in the first round and changes locations each round. The team who lost that previous round gets the advantage for the spawn location for the next round. Also, for this week, we got double trials rank points, so definitely spend some time in there. But what do you guys think? How does this capture zone sound for trials? I'm gonna go.
A lot of people are gonna get shatter dived.
Yeah,
I saw that on
trial. I can think of, or there's gonna be like 5 rifts in the thing with
bubble titan.
That's all I can think of.
Those raid mechanics.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I'm curious to try it. My guess is it probably doesn't work as well as normal trials, but
I actually think different game types has been something that like PvP needs for a long time, and including trials. Like I think they need, but the problem is the control thing. Like that's every game mode. Like why would they choose that one to beta test with trials? I just wish they would. Even the bomb planting one I thought was more interesting because there was an actual objective, and whatever that game mode was where you planted the bomb and
I remember that one.
Disarm it. That was really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I like I said, I'm glad that they're trying new stuff. I'll play it.
I don't know.
Can you go to the Lighthouse Trials Labs?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
I don't know how the ranking's going to work. Is it going to count towards your card? Is it just this like? Because they did Crucible Labs before, and I don't even know if you got rewards from it.
It's replacing trials. They said it's
this week it is. That's right. Yeah.
So it is real trials, and it's double XP or double.
So we'll go to the Lighthouse Lab.
Yes, Capture Zone is the only trials mode this week. It's not a separate mode. It is replacing trials this week.
Yeah. They're gonna get their data about this one. Be like, it's gonna be something different.
And then there's trials the next week because it's Iron Banner, and now
Iron Banner.
I like that they're doing that. I like that they're doing.
I like that.
I think they need to focus PvP playlists way more often than they do now, because like Iron Banner every other week, and then trials, and then they'd have like a new, you're shooting the Scorch Cannons mode in the casual playlists, and just choose where you want your PvP people to play and like point them to it.
Yeah, to me it just seems, it reminds me of like, the D1. They try to make a D1 Iron Banner equivalent when it would be like, okay, this week's Rift, this week's this week's that's what it feels like, and I actually like the mode where it's at, so I just thought a refinement on the mode. But that's just me with trials specifically. I don't mind it with Iron Banner, but hey, I'll give it a shot before I complain, and see how it is.
I mean, we're gonna have 2 capture game types in a row. We're gonna have the trials capture the zone, and then we're gonna have Iron Banner immediately after that, where you're capturing zones.
Right.
At some point, they'll get out of next year. We're gonna get a couple different modes, but for now, it's all variations on control. It seems like. I will say an objective even for like this past weekend, an objective for that map would not be a bad thing to force like people to move around, to play different areas, potentially go, if you start on C and you got to go to point A for some reason, you got to play in that area instead of everybody playing the damn little cramped hallway over there. It would, true. I was like, I think, and it would depend on the map too, depending on where you're forced to move around. If it's a big one, if it's a small one, I'll be curious what the map is this weekend. I actually hope for Labs they kind of do. I would like to see them do a couple maps, because if it's one map that kind of does or kind of doesn't work, you don't get to try out more about the mode, because the map will kind of determine also like objective working or not. But as you guys have said, I'm sure there will be a fair amount of shadow dives for the people hanging out on the point.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody's going to be afraid to go touch the point.
I can't without saying a Trials version of Team Scorched.
I actually think Trials Rift would be fun, because I can't even imagine the
3-person dunk the ball.
Can you do it with 3 people?
Three people might be too small.
You'd have to do it on small maps or
something. Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool if you I don't know if you could dunk it, but it would be like, I don't know, the King of the Hill sounds weird if they moved it around the map, but like you pick something, hold on to it, and you got to kind of defend the teammates, and then like hold that. Sure.
Oddball from Halo, where they're holding the skull.
I remember that one person skull.
Yeah.
It'd be,
I also thought they should do Juggernaut, just like give somebody an infinite super, and then everybody has to try to kill him, and then whoever kills him gets the infinite super. You know what I mean?
Like, almost like a zombie, almost like a zombie tagging mode. Like, you tag it, you get it.
It's like the Juggernaut mode, where like one person is super buff and gets points whenever they kill somebody as the Juggernaut, and then everybody's goal is to kill them so that they can become the Juggernaut and start scoring points. Like, I think that would work in Trials if you could find a way, or in comp if you could find a way to. Trials would be ridiculous, but it would work. It would work. How would that even work? 3 people with their supers at all times. No, I think it would work in like a Crucible, but it would. I don't know.
They're making new modes. They're doing something, and Rift's coming back. Obviously, my guess is they're going to do some sort of SWAT mode, just because that's pretty easy to do, I think, and they're already almost there with momentum control anyway.
Twilight Garrison. We need it for if they're bringing Rift back. That's key to my strat.
They've brought almost everything else back from Q1,
at some point we'll probably get it.
To see it at some point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, it'd be too ugly to be in the game. We will find out.
Ornaments
before you could shade it and ornament, So the next thing,
you couldn't in D1.
Are you flawless? So then one of the main changes we made to Trials this season was to allow solo and duo players to queue up. Obviously, we just had that hour-long debate about that. Had 2 main benefits. It allowed players a low barrier of entry and expectation to try the mode out. It allows them to try it. And then maybe they'll take it farther, Travis, but they try it.
Be nice.
When have I ever said I'm against people trying the mode? Jeez.
Be nice. Coming into this peacefully, weapons down.
And more importantly, it increased the population enough that fire teams of mid-skill players landed more wins than if they matched against other mid-skill or high-skilled fire teams. Solar players are a key to the entire system working. For example, in our first week, we had a whopping 54% were fire teams versus solo duos. Cut that to this team where 45% were fire teams versus solo/duos. Pretty sharp drop. To get enough,
not good. It's 1 out of every 2 games still is randoms against a 3-stack. I don't know why that is way too high in general. I think I don't know why they're still bragging about that, because that does not seem good. 1 out of every 2 games against a 3-stack is almost an instant loss.
Yeah,
I don't. I think the matchmaking, it is the Wild West right now. Like, that's just what I've learned from playing it, is like sometimes you get really good teams and sometimes it's like, geez. And I'm sure we'll get to this, but they haven't fixed that whole matchmaking manipulation thing where they're making sure you don't show up against
the forward, showing the number. Yeah, that you're right. Yep. Absolutely.
They said said they were going to patch that out, and they haven't.
They have not.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it for this week either.
No, that was I thought they were working on it, but I guess not. So keeping solo.
In this. Yeah, it's
Keeping solo players playing, we learned a lot of from the first 2 weeks of solo matchmaking. Week 1, solo wins is 23% of games, blowouts 38% of games. That feels like that almost is even low. No, that felt low. I got blown out so much in the first week. Most worryingly, the blowout rate for the solo players went steadily up over the weekend. That sounds about right. But then in the second weekend, matchmaking changes pushed that rate back down. Solo wins were 36%, so that went up 13. Blowouts went down 9%. So a little change in both directions they're going for. Said long term, they're looking for the solo win rate above 30% and solo fire team blowouts under 33%. How does that sound for you guys for goals of what they're trying to get to for a solo
kind of
player?
a low bar, honestly, but okay.
Careful.
We want solo players to win maybe a third of the time. I don't know. This is why it's so hard to go flawless solo, because if you have a 1 in 3 shot of winning a game and you have to do that 7 times in a row, imagine winning a coin flip 7 times in a row.
Facts.
It's less than a coin flip. So it's a third. So that's why it's so hard to go flawless when you're solo. You have to just get blindingly lucky.
They did say that they're not really designing it for solo queues to go flawless.
They did say that. I think... I always thought it would be like this. Like it reminded me of the time where I won 15 COT games in a row to get Recluse on like the last day it was available, and like that was just so much luck. Like I played okay, but it was getting good teammates. So like you are going to find instances where people go solo flawless and they've never been flawless before. It's going to be rare, and most of the time you're just going to have people farming engrams or whatever at lower tiers, which is fine. That's all I did the first weekend essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the mode is rewarding enough now where even if you have no expectation of going flawless, it is actually worthwhile to play that game. And, you know, the adept weapons are good, but they're not so much better than the regular versions that you just wouldn't even try. And I think that's great. It also helps flesh out the playlist and get more people in there and that sort of stuff. But I think maybe that's okay if they only win 33% of the time. Like, are you okay with that, Paul? Like if you were a solo queuer?
It doesn't feel great, and yet I don't know if I can like demand a 50% win rate necessarily. I do think generally speaking, I think solo players go against 3 stacks too often, and because that every time that happens, you just feel it's like a 90% chance you're going to lose that, and it doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah,
like even regardless of if they're like gilded flawless or whatever, even if they're just on a team, that is enough to beat a team of randoms most of the time. So 1 out of 2 games being that, I think that is still way too high, and that needs to come down.
I was like, I was just gonna say, I'm still waiting for. I want to see freelance. I'm very curious to see threes versus freelance. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying that. That to me is the key to the experiment, because I agree with both of you guys. I think that 1/3 is not something to be bragging about, per se. And I think ultimately, though, they secretly like that, because I think they still want to push towards the 2 or the 3, stack playing together. So I'm with E. I definitely think that I would love to see how the data pans out with the freelance queue, the same way how we have in Iron Banner, and to see what's the ratio and percentages of people getting matched up and going to the lighthouse. Then that to me is actually more useful data for the solo guys. I'm very curious.
One thing we're not talking about is twos. Someone's talking about twos in chats. Playing as a 2 felt actually pretty good. I play with one buddy of mine pretty frequently, and like we'd have a third that we weren't talking to, but I would say we were doing a lot better than we would in a normal in old trials under this system. So like twos is almost kind of a middle ground that you're getting an advantage because you're communicating with at least one person, and so that can help you against more 3 stacks, but also it's not like full solos, full silence. So I think twos have benefited a lot from this.
Yeah. So do you think there should be a freelance playlist and 2 should be in the playlist with 3s?
Ooh.
Well, then who's the third player? People who just don't know.
That's what I was going to say.
That's hard. It's so like
the free
it is hard. It is hard. I think that's where it kind of gets tricky.
If they add it and separate it, then you can't have a fire team of 2. You either
because your third person will either be someone who's so good they're confident against the only 3 stacks, or it's so bad they don't know what playlists they're going in the first place and are just confused.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that in comp already. I mean, that already happens there. So that would be tricky, yes.
They do want to keep the game quality high, though. They said we talk about blowouts as one as looking for competitive matches. They also consider 5-1 as not competitive. They said the sweet spot they're looking for is 5-2 or 5-4. Somewhere in there where you get a couple rounds at least. Somewhere to like the Ultra Sweat Fest 4-5. They said in week 1 we saw 60% of matches end either 5-1 or 5-0. That's pretty bad. In week 2, the number of non-competitive dropped to 52%. That's still over half are basically just blowouts, which is a small step in the right direction. But yeah, 50% are stomps. Nice improvement. They said they'd like to see it down to 30 to 40%. If all of I would say if 60, 70% of my matches were at least a few rounds I won, that would feel better. Because it's the ones where you don't win any, or like maybe you get a nice super and you get like, cool, I got one. But if you get at least a couple rounds, it feels at least a bit more lively as opposed to stomp, 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 stomp. To me.
Yeah.
You guys? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's how old Trials felt to me, where on any point in the card, at a certain point, when there was no separation of pools or anything, it was just, you could easily go 0-5 games and games and games. Like if you ran into a bad stretch, and like I haven't found as much of that in this new version. It still happens, certainly, but I would say it has improved certainly from the old system.
Yeah. I also don't want 5 and O's. Like that's the other thing, is if you're eliminating O's and 5s and 1s and 5s, you're also eliminating the reverse, because there's always another team on the other side of it. And I think that's good for everyone if that happens, because I don't like matches where we just destroy the team. It's like not interesting. It's not why I play Trials. It's not why I play comp. And I think it's healthier to make people hopefully play against people that provide at least some sort of meaningful challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm agree, because we were talking about that with the Senate last week, and as you were saying, it's like playing in your bracket. That's why everybody throws a fit about skill-based matchmaking. I'm like, but that is going to get you to a point where you play against people around your wheelhouse of skill. And that's going to give you matches where you can, if you want to, some people are just going to sit there, twiddle their thumbs and hope for some rewards. But if you go into the mode trying to get a little better, pay attention more, see if you can improve your skill, maybe you hit a few shots, if they're near your skill level, you at least have a shot to do that. So hopefully that's an improvement. They said other things that worked. We had just over 700,000 players this weekend, over 50,000 players fewer than week 1. This is higher than expected, given a normal drop-off after launch, combined with the Distant Shore being a less popular map. Plus, we had 253,000 players go flawless. Games were 10% longer, mostly due to more competitive games, they state. Are those numbers, does that number sound high to you? That's like what, not over a third going flawless?
Those numbers sound good, I think. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't drop more, honestly, with all the controversy. And that was a garbage map for Trials. So like, that's rough. Actually kind of surprising to me, which is good news for the mode, and that people were sticking around. But
on the other side, though, things that didn't work, we saw 34% less matches played overall, and the number of matches post-flawless dropped by 45%.
Not surprising at all.
Post-flawless was really weird, though. Like in week 1, it was like, I went flawless that weekend, and then instantly I had like 5 games in a row that were just jokes and were so easy with my team, like out of nowhere. And like, it just, nothing about post 7 made sense then. And then like on the other side, when I was playing solo on like a 7 and 20 card or whatever, I was getting really, really hard games and like just getting crushed, and I was getting 1 reward every 5 games or something. So week 1 was really screwy in terms of that. So I'm not surprised if they kind of fixed it to make it more even, that you would see a drop off like that.
Gog, where are you falling on any of this stuff?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as far as the match play, the post flawless, I think there was, a significant pushback, from the community. Obviously, once the word came out about the flawless pool and what would happen, and I think, players were utilizing methods to circumvent those situations. So that's what I saw. And then I wanted to comment on the thing before that we didn't talk about. And I didn't want to give them credit. Is I have to admit, like, getting into matches were pretty fast, you know what I'm saying, which was really cool. But we talked about, we need to get rid of that. When you see the 4, like, we would smile, like, shout out to DD, we were like, oh, you see that, 5v6, they're searching for a third. So yeah, they got to work on that.
I would roll my eyes.
Well, I wonder how much that plays into the 1 out of every 2 games is against a 3 stack. If you can hunt randoms using that system, I wonder if they can drop it by another 10% just from that. So
ain't no shame in my game, y'all. I was smiling very, very, very widely when those things were going in my favor. I've never been flawless. I did not care. I was like this. I'm
by any means necessary.
Bro, I know what's gonna take this from me.
Me in old Trials, when we get a free game because like the other team didn't show up, I'd be like,
that doesn't work anymore. That doesn't work anymore.
The 5
it's a draw now. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. The thing I didn't like though, there was close to our flawless. Say on our 6th win, one of the opposite team that we faced we jumped out like 4-0 or whatever, about to crush them, and then like that one of their guys also like quit on them, and I'm like, damn, that's really messed. So I still don't like the penalties. I hope they address that as far as things that doesn't work. Like the penalties, I think they initially said was like, 30 minutes, you're timed out. Like it's got to be harsher. You can't abandon your team and not have more serious repercussions, in my opinion. I understand timeouts, disconnects happen, so they probably want to be careful of that. But
the only reason I think that might be like risky is that what about the third guy whose two teammates leave? Like, does he have to sit there and get killed for 5 rounds?
I mean, it's like 3 minutes. I don't know why people are leaving at all, because you don't get rep. And
agreed. I don't get it either.
I don't even know if people understand how the rep thing works now, but there's really no point in leaving. If you're getting crushed, your game is going to be over in like 3 minutes.
Yeah,
so like
it takes no time at all.
Yeah,
but Cog, I carried your friend Lord Addict.
Yes, you got Addict up there. Yes,
and he I could hear the giddiness in his voice,
Bro.
like just this childlike excitement when we were in the queue for the final match, and he saw the 4, and then he saw the 5, and then he saw the 6.
Oh man!
And he was like, "I'm trying not to get excited right now, guys." I was like, "Dude, we're gonna get you there regardless." Like,
you gotta understand, for the majority of us mid-average, players, it's a fear, because you feel something's gonna go wrong. It's the epitome of going from getting pub stomped on like the win number 2. And never getting past that, to now you're on the threshold of something great, and it's just pure getting, and they're getting gas. I'm like, no, dude, we gotta focus. We gotta make sure, like, don't get gas. You know what I'm saying? And we actually, one of the calls, we actually lost to a match made team, and I'm like, you see, we had to use the mercy, right? And now I'm really nervous, like my flawless is not gonna happen now, and then we end up doing it. So again, there's a huge percentage of players that this is some unattainable thing, that there is pure excitement once they get there. And, look, it still needs work. Obviously, they're going there. But I just wanted to say that the heart was throbbing. I was happy that I saw 4 of 6.
And I'm happy that you're happy and got to experience it. Contrary to what you think about me for some reason. I am truly
You've forgotten the fear, Travis, what it's like to fear the 3 stacks and flawless titles and... Umbral.
Dude, I see
the dudes roll through.
Fear is real among the rest of us.
When I'm on game 6 and 7, I'm like, come on, man, don't choke. Dude, I almost got beat by somebody who had like a 0.2 KD. I think it was a recov, but like I was just like, I'm gonna have to commit seppuku if I lose this match. Like this is unbelievable.
Yeah, because the opposite feeling was like the most. That's why I said I want to see them still not give up on the flawless pool thing, because the opposite feeling to me was always, you start trials, you get that excitement, the hope, right, that you could go. Match 1, match 2, you see a dude with the flawless banner, the adept version of Reed's. I'm like, this is my first match. Like, what are you doing here? Like you get out of the child's playground, fam. Like, I'm just trying to start this, and here you come bullying me on the playground. That's how.
What's one way to do that?
The majority of people.
You know what's one way to do that is if there were ranks in trials so that you could play against your peers. Then I would get to play with my peers, you get to play with your peers, and we would both have similarly sweaty experiences, but at different levels.
Listen, I'll never go against the ranks.
It's something that could
I'll never disagree with you on wanting the ranks. You know that.
Anywho, they had reports of significant number of players resetting, as you guys will kind of tease that, the 5-0 and 6-0 cards, but we saw around 16,000 total cards that were reset while flawless, but under 7 wins, given the vast number of games and cards played. 2.7 million cards started this weekend.
And that is why the flawless pool idea doesn't work, because you can manipulate it.
Well, that's the thing. They said
it was such a small, it's like a point something percentage. I don't know. I just don't think that was a widespread problem.
They just said it's something they're watching, and as it's unhealthy for the mode, if it becomes more common, it's something they'll look at. And they also state, like, later on, they're looking to get rid of the flawless pool. So let me finish the rest of this, and we'll see.
Okay, just finish.
Yeah. Normally we see around 50% of the players who go flawless do so with someone else who is already flawless. Last week, it was 56%. This can't be a traditional. This can be either traditional carry or just playing with friends. That number dropped to 16% this week, which is unacceptably low for friend game content.
This is my favorite stat of the whole.
Let's go. Woo! Talk to him.
That's
I mean,
that's brutal.
This was the problem with the flawless pool.
Yeah.
It's like it just built.
Get your behind in there. Get out of the little boy pool and get in there and play with him.
Yeah, because like I can't. This happens so many times where like people would just like, okay, have you got flawless yet? Yes, I can't play with you. Like it's going to be just a nightmare. So like that is the main problem with the flawless pool. That I mean, I think their changes this week, just doing the flawless pool only halfway through the weekend kind of changes, and that can help with that. But that was the most obvious thing I saw happening this week, was just the inability to play with your friends based on whether or not you had gone flawless. Because once I went flawless, I'm like, I'm done, because like I can't play with my normal group now who hasn't gone flawless, because that would just, I know that would be a nightmare. So that is not a good part of the system, and I understand why they're trying to get rid of the flawless pool eventually, because that barrier is not good.
Because to your point, Paul, it was a small percentage, but there's also only a very small percentage of people who feel so confident in their abilities that they're willing to reset on a six win ticket. You know what I mean? So I think
don't even understand. Like, are they confident in their abilities? Because isn't that the people who just like want to pub stomp people? Is that what we're saying?
People who are doing carries,
that's
but
carries,
they don't want to. They want to carry somebody else, but then they get them, to that threshold, and then they reset their.
Oh,
cards.
okay.
They can get a random to the lighthouse, but not get themselves to the lighthouse, so that they can.
Well,
keep
that's
playing.
a weird. Yeah, that's a weird system.
Oh yeah, that's the workaround.
It is a weird system, but it makes it easier for carriers, because I'm keeping myself in this pool of people who haven't gone yet, and then I can just keep resetting my ticket.
I mean, I'd hate to be getting carried and have my guy abandon me on like game 7.
No,
they don't abandon.
I just reset my card.
That's reset.
I reset my card, and then I help you get there.
Yeah, he's back at 0. Yep.
Yeah. It's like I could just abuse the system and keep me separate from the guys who I would actually be afraid of, and it just allows you to manipulate the player pool way too much.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like if you have two people,
I can just see them being like, okay, you can't reset your card if you
have to
never lost a game or something.
Maybe you have to complete at some point.
Then they leave the player that they're trying to carry. They lose one match real quick, and then they hop back in with a fresh card.
And if you want to go through all that effort, then fine.
But I mean, if
they said that about win trading, and we all saw how that worked out. If you want to go through all that effort,
at least this isn't like literal win trading. So
so they did say they will wait until Sunday morning, as you guys said, to enable the flawless pool. So much later I love how they're like Friday afternoon, and I always forget Pacific is a couple hours back. They're like, that's like Friday night, but either way, it's like much later. So they're doing 2 full days until they actually get the flawless pool active. See what those numbers look like. They also said they are turning off matchmaking and help until you have played at least 2 matches during the weekend. So I guess
matchmaking help. What does that mean?
I think that's the one. I think that last week they described it as like if you lose so many matches in a row and you get stomped, and then finally it'll match you up against someone, I guess, lower skill, or however they do that matchmaking.
Yeah, there's a pool of people who have lost 5 matches in a row,
but if you only have to play 2 games,
I don't know how they get there, but
understand. Okay.
They did say they're working on some deeper matchmaking solutions, which hopefully lets us remove the flawless pool sometime. They're looking mid-late October.
Skill-based?
We'll see.
They might just need more data to like, once they have enough data on how good everyone is, then I guess they don't need the flawless pool anymore. I don't know.
That's a good point, yeah.
Last stuff they are changing. Some of it literally just got patched today, I guess, in the big hotfix today. Players will no longer get special ammo on replenishment when being revived, which is a big change. I learned that was even a thing since I never played Trials that much, but that's one some people probably will definitely feel more than others. They added hold function to purchase gear from Saint instead of, I guess, you accidentally purchase stuff from him, so they gave you a little longer. Hopefully it's that 1 second hold, not like that 4 second really long hold.
Dismantle an exotic.
Oh god!
Yeah,
Hold on. Let me do the dishes first. I'll be back. Weapons received from reputation rank rewards. They have the masterwork slots, so the ones up in Saints rewards, they have the masterwork slots, which is good. The cool thing is when you reset that, you actually get different rewards up there. So it really does.
I did reset once. I haven't looked though.
Yeah. I saw somebody do basically like, hey, what do you get when you reset and you pick it up? Like, not much changes. Like, big deal, but it was different awards up there, because first it was like the Eye of Saul and couldn't remember, and then it switched over and one of them was the Messenger. So if you reset enough over the course of say a season,
you can earn rolls though, right? It's the same rolls for everybody.
Okay. Yeah, they're fixed rolls.
Yeah, I didn't look at the
farm
new.
them if you've never gotten them before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Including you can farm the adept versions.
Yep.
And then finally, they said they're looking forward to. We expect to take another swing at matchmaking to keep some of the solo lower skill protections from week 2 without strongly negatively affecting flawless players. They're looking at adjustments to rewards for round and match wins on 7-win cards. They definitely need to do that for flawless, because I think the biggest thing is, like, if people go flawless and there's no reason to stay there, or it's just so difficult, it's not as big of a deal. But again, if you win one at flawless and you can farm it much easier, the carrot has to be out there for people to stay flawless if it's going to be tough. That'll be the key. But outside of that, yeah, Iron Banner is back next week. So Crucible Labs this week, Iron Banner next week. So it'll return on the 8th. That is most of it for the TWAB, besides the giant fashion show, which I got to get Tassi's take on, because I know you're the fashionista in here. What'd you think about this all, the way they kind of managed it?
I was kind of confused because I don't know how they found the first people for the covers. Maybe they just reached out to them themselves. And then reading through this, I guess they pick a number of people and who win and get the emblem, but then only 3 people, 1 from each class, is on the cover. So there will be a good amount of winners per contest or something. And it sounds like they're only doing this every couple of months or something. So it's not like a monthly thing. I am obviously all in favor of anything having to do with more fashion contests. The official account replied to me kind of explaining that what they do is you submit your design and all the shaders and the things, and then they recreate your look and then do a photo shoot for the magazine, which is really cool. I think that's because there's no. I wish they would just give us a photo mode and then we could just take cool.
Oh my god, give me a photo mode, a clean HUD, no weapon.
Been saying this forever, but I think this is cooler than just like the Bungie account retweets, 10 people who win a fashion contest. I mean, they could do that too, but I think leaning into kind of embracing this is a good idea. And also, transmog needs to be free. The end.
Yes.
I don't think you'll get any agreement. This will be the opposite of our trials debate on transmog should be free.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
What I got to do to enter this? I might jump in. Is it too late?
You just use the hashtag and then you tag the Destiny account and then you take a screenshot of your builds with on the transmog screen, so it shows all the pieces.
Oh, the transmog screen.
Were you defeated this year, Paul?
Was I defeated?
Yeah.
What, in the fashion game?
Yeah,
I haven't won.
Are you on a cover or what?
There's only been one issue. They just did it today, so no, I'm not on that.
Question. Okay.
Yes, I am 0-1 in fashion covers, but
that's great. I want to know your KDA when it comes to Destiny.
My KDA. I guess I'm 1-1 because I have 1 fashion emblem and I don't have this year's yet. So
nice.
We'll see. I think the year 1 is better, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I just have
my goal is to win I won on a Warlock, so I'm trying to win on a Titan or a Hunter going forward.
You ain't go wrong with the Warlocks now.
They're good.
I'm gonna try to keep up with your fashion emblems. I'm gonna try to keep up with my movie of the week emblems. I'm just gonna keep trying.
Okay, I have a movie of the week emblem.
You do?
Yeah, because I was in the dude who does he's like the
real IRL Guardian.
There was
like 30 people in the video, and we all got emblems.
I was in that too.
Totally cheating, but I'll take it. I have to win the art emblem. That's one I haven't gotten yet, but I'm not good at art, so that might be a little while.
I'm not good at art.
No,
well, that is a bit of a
train myself to be good at art. Just
it's a bit of a hurdle. Yeah, it's a bit of a hurdle to get over.
To get an emblem.
They need a meme. They need a meme emblem. I would love a meme emblem for the best meme of the week.
Yeah,
it would just be me and Destiny the meme competing.
And it would just be a Doge.
Yes, emblem. I would love that, but we'll see.
Well, that pretty much wraps up the TWAB. We beat trials to death before we even got to the TWAB, and then we had more trials. But I just want to ask you guys, where are you guys at for your expectations for the rest of the season? Because you guys say we're in week 5. The quest has about 2 more weeks. We're going to kind of see that situation wrap up in October. We've got the difficulties coming for both Astral alignment, and then also we've got the Legend difficulty coming for Shattered Realm. And then Grandmaster Nightfalls sometime in December by the calendar that we're going to be seeing the new dungeon, which I'm still curious about. And then we've also got the Thorn Armor and things like that. Just where you guys feeling this whole 6-month season? How you guys feel this is going to hit after a little while?
Something's missing here because I don't know what, but I think it's going to be there has to be more story stuff. I think that's a given. The story can't just end in 3 weeks and shut off for 4 months. there could be some sort of secret. I mean, it's 6 months. You would imagine there's going to be some sort of secret thing that happens. I would predict that. So the story will end in 3 weeks. That'll be mid-October. Then that's around when Festival of the Lost starts. I bet Festival of the Lost will probably be that whole month. There probably won't be any story things that of significance. And then with the difficulty options and GMs, then we'll hit the anniversary, and then all that stuff will drop at once. And then kind of the real mystery is what happens from the anniversary to Witch Queen, which is like 2.5, 3 months. That is when I would guess the story would probably pick back up again. We have the Dawning, but that's not really anything but an Eververse event. And then we have Moments of Triumph, which is usually tied to Solstice of Heroes, but they pushed it back because of the delay. And that's just kind of like accomplishing more kind of generic things throughout the course of the year. But there has to be more story stuff. I would not put it past them to do some sort of secret thing before the grand season runs out here.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be pretty boring. I think we'll get an end, and there'll be sort of like a lull, like Paul was saying, and then we'll get our Dino armor for Festival of the Lost. We'll probably be just chilling for a couple weeks and hopefully they're still making Trials headlines and stuff like that throughout that. And then I think after, I don't know if the 30th anniversary is going to be very big. I think it might just be a dungeon and a couple small activities. I don't think it's going to. It's not its own season, right?
No,
it's coming at the midpoint though. So it's like, okay, free activity, paid dungeon. I don't think it has story stuff.
That's what I'm curious about.
I mean, the dungeon might have some lore or something, but
it's gonna be Season of the Lost 0.5, and then I think there will be some. I think there is some stuff that they're holding on to for after the 30th anniversary next year when they get back from the holidays. I think there's going to be probably a secret event similar to the Whisper of the Worm event, because that happened at the end of that season when people were kind of just starting to think about Destiny again and hype for the future. Hype for the future.
Keep in mind though, anything seasonal they introduce is getting cut when Witch Queen hits. So if it's a seasonal thing, it's not going to be around very long. So like the past secret stuff they've done, like Presage and stuff like that, Harbinger, those were in the game for a really long time. But anything they introduce in like January is going to be cut by the end of February. So that's my only hesitation, where like I can see that being like story stuff, but I don't know. Maybe they're not going to introduce a whole secret seasonal mission or something.
If it's like a prologue to the Witch Queen, I think they have to keep it in. And I think that maybe that's cut off and separated from all the other stuff that's going on.
Yeah, it could be a free to play thing that is not part of the season.
Encourages you to buy Witch Queen and kind of sets up that story and stuff. Yeah.
We just got to see. I'm very curious about the 30th anniversary, how that's implemented. It's probably like you guys are saying, probably not going to have too many story beats or connection. Maybe like some separate entity. Obviously, Galorn's coming back, but I'm curious about the dungeons and stuff that E's going to be wanting to see. So they're going to be satiating that need.
I think it's going to be meme filled, don't you?
I want a meme dungeon. It's the Loot Cave dungeon.
I think it is,
dungeon.
Well, they said it was like pirate themed, right?
Cryptarch talking and it's going to be over the top and
I thought they said pirate themed.
It's in the it's on the pre-order page for
30 years. Hold on.
What does that even mean?
A new dungeon inspired by farmed Cosmodrome loot caves of yore has drawn the interest of many a treasure hunter. Spelunk into the unknown, earn the new Thorn armor set, and watch your step as you hunt for lost relics. I swear they said pirate theme somewhere, though. I feel like I've heard that.
That does sound familiar.
I mean, the Fallen are kind of piratey, so
Space
pirate. I assume it's a Fallen. It's probably a Fallen dungeon, I would imagine.
Even though it's in a hive cave.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's curious, but again, for me, I'm all.
I still think Randall the Vandal would be the boss, but
that would be amazing. That would be perfect. Yeah, they kind of have to.
Cryptarch would be great because that was his whole.
Cryptarch can narrate it. Right?
Yeah, he can narrate it.
He can narrate it, or he's angry that you're trying to reclaim Galahorn because it broke the game last time, and
that's what I mean. I want a meme dungeon.
I want it to be like a Borderlands meme.
Tiny Tina's Wonder Crazy World.
Yeah, exactly. Please have fun with this, Destiny. This is your one chance, Bungie, to create something.
Yeah, break all the walls.
All the other dungeons are like super evil or like super trippy, and this one can be like funny.
Yeah, I could do that. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to that. I'm just one last question. I know we wrap it up soon. Do you guys think they will abandon the remember the live events at the end of a season where you would wait in the tower and something cataclysmic or the traveler reformed and remember all that? Like remember like they used
we
to
would
do.
be due for one of those at the end of this
I
season.
hope they don't abandon that. I
cool.
thought those were very cool. Like
Yeah.
I almost am sad they haven't done more of those because it's been such a long time. It was since the Traveler reformed.
Yeah, that was Arrivals.
Before Beyond Light.
Yeah, full year.
Yeah, and so I would love to do something else like that again. Like I thought they did a surprisingly good job, and that was before the whole kind of engine overhauls and stuff they did. So I wonder what they could be capable of now. But it's also hard for me to like think of what they would do for the Witch Queen. Like we watched Savathun's Throne World be created. Or I don't know. Like that would be a little.
Yeah,
that's odd, but
that's kind of the only thing. Either she gets out and does something, or the only thing you could probably see is if you're in the Dreaming City when whatever event goes down.
Curse lift, maybe?
Yeah, the curse lift or something. If there's something like that, that could be a way to break that finally. I don't know. But that might be the only guess of what. But I mean, the Almighty was too long. We got that. But when it happened was pretty cool. The effect, the smash, like they even did the sound, the blowback. That was actually really cool. And then, of course, seeing the Traveler. Wish it would have been more than, oh, here's your director getting overtaken. A little more than that with all the pyramid ships out there in the sandboxes, or skyboxes.
Yeah.
Still, we are due for one. I feel like it would be a really cool way to go into the biggest, expansion they've probably ever hyped, I think.
Yeah, I guess we just have to see where the story's at that point. Because right now the main story thing is Savathun in the cocoon. Obviously Savathun's coming out of the cocoon, but that's an instance. So you couldn't really go into that with more than yourself or another person or something. So it can't be that. So we just don't really know where the story's going to end up. So we'll have a better idea later, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do it. And it's not because I don't think it's cool or would be appropriate. I think watching the curse get lift or something would be awesome. But I just don't think they'll do it because it seems to me like that fad has sort of ended. You know what I mean? Like a lot of games were trying that sort of thing for a while where you could be in the game and watch something cool happen. And then you don't really see that a lot anymore. Like Fortnite still does it, but a lot of games were trying it and they've sort of not done it anymore. So I wonder if it's just sort of like an industry thing where we kind of moved on and that's just not something they're doing.
I mean, the Call of Duty, what was it? The Vanguard launch happened in the middle of Warzone recently because they did the whole tank.
Does it a good amount still. Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, as you said, it's not big. It's not a lot of places that do it.
Common anymore.
And again, it could take a lot of work that for them, they'd rather do these well-placed stories for you in your instance, as opposed to this dramatic thing for more people to see.
Also, COVID might make it hard because
true.
they all have to be on site, like doing stuff with servers to make sure everybody experiences live on that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like week 7 we're gonna get Grandmasters, and then probably wrap up the story. Week 8 we're gonna get Festival of the Lost. It seems like because if you go to Today in Destiny, I think that's when the Dino stuff starts coming out. So you got October, you got Difficulties and Festival. November's gonna be probably fairly light. December is gonna be here's your dungeon at probably the start of December, and then Dawning and Moments of Triumph to wrap it up. It just, I'm curious to see what the story does. These next few weeks will be very interesting to see how much waiting we have, if there's an epilogue piece, if there's any connection to the 30th, or it's just this, downtime to the season of Witch Queen.
Yeah, man.
Well, I think that is all we got for this show. We definitely tapped out most things we were trying to. Yeah. Somehow we came out of this thing in one piece, but honestly, it's like you guys may hear all this, and if you get to the end of the show, you'd be like, "Man, you guys were all at each other." It's like that's part of the fun. It's always good to have debates and stuff like this because it keeps it entertaining for you guys. You're on one side or the other, I bet you, or you're like, maybe I could see both sides. But either way, it's been a lot of fun. Paul, thank you for joining us. Glad to have you on again. You're basically a friend of the show at this point. We got you not quite regular, but you're on here enough. It's just,
I mean, this is my favorite show to be on these days. So whenever I can, I love to be on.
Well,
much appreciated, brother.
As many as you're on, we appreciate that.
That's true. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, Cognito may have left us to higher and brighter places, but
he's a big boy now. Yeah,
I know.
Really?
Oh, don't encourage him.
Up.
Oh, you're hanging out.
Next thing we know, we're gonna see on Twitter.
Moriarty.
He's gonna have his next Tesla picture on Twitter. He's like, "Hey, check out my new car."
Savages, man. Still regular old cog. Always a pleasure, man. Paul in the building. Respect for you because obviously huge fan. Love your takes. You actually becoming low key like my favorite Destiny content creator. Like I literally look very excited, for your videos because it's your unique takes. And I still think you got the best intro pretend music. That I love that beat. Whoever picked that beat or wherever you got it from,
that's the license-free YouTube playlist selection.
Did it. That's my joint. I love it. When I hit on it, okay, let's go. And then obviously we know the real star of the show, Evie. We had to salute her. Love the merch. Love what's going on. She didn't make a guest appearance.
She's with my wife somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nah, but salute you, bro. You've been killing it. The articles, the content creation. We love to see your journey there, and obviously your takes, man. It's spicy. And look, anybody can debate with us and me and Travis and Ian go crazy and still maintain a sanity, be friends out. It's got to be a friend of the campfire. So salute to my man, Paul Tassi, man. I always love when you pull up, for sure.
Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Trav, what's going on, man? What's going on with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at TagGuyTravis. I don't have as many followers as Paul. I
follow Travis. I will gift you 1,000 followers. Go follow him.
Yeah, I think my takes are a little too controversial. I think I don't.
I never have controversial takes.
No. Yeah, that's true.
Notoriously non-controversial.
I will give you credit for that. I will give you credit. But yeah, and you can find my articles, reviews, and previews on IGN.com. This week I reviewed Sable. I'm doing a preview for a really interesting social deception game called Dread Hunger. And then also I'm reviewing World War Z Aftermath. My review will probably be up like early next week. So got lots of stuff going on that end. And then I'm on a show called Bitcast on Sundays at 8 a.m. With Ains and the boys at Season Gaming. And you can also find me here, my favorite show, The Last Word. Spiritual successor to Fire Team Chat, as far as I'm concerned. And,
especially when you do your intro that way, yeah.
I did Destin's intro. Welcome to Fire Team Chat. God, how about you? What are you up to, buddy?
Oh man, so much going on. Again, salute to Paul for pulling up. Yeah, like this week has been busy. Check out Defining Duke Ultimate. We got to sat down with Hogue Law. We broke down the whole legal dispute between Marty O'Donnell and Bungie. Very in depth. A lot there. Contempt of court. Very messy situation.
Very cool topic, by the way. Very cool.
Yes. So we got to chart that. So check that out. And also Defining Duke itself. My man, Mr. Matty Plays. That is up. Talk about all the latest going on in the Xbox rumors and acquisition stuff. Check that out. And Sunday will be ILP will return 11 a.m. Oh, thank you guys for the love. Obviously, we're close to 10K. Really means a lot to us as a smaller podcast trying to grow up and get a little light and stuff like that. So yeah, we're close, about 50 subs away.
Nice. Go give these guys. Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Addict, King, Saul, those are my brothers. Those are guys we shoot shit all the time, and it's always fun, man. It's always fun to talk gaming with them and to see the community that we built. So that, and then you already know the last word, man. It's living up to its word today with the spiciness.
I don't know who. I think I may have taken the last word at one point. I was like, all right.
Let me tell you when I know. When I get Travis to yell at me, when I get E to roll. No, I get the Paul Tassi eye roll. And I get E to put the head, do my move with when you exasperate it and you when you get those three things in a show, the debate was lit. So salute to the last word. Man. I love what we're building, and I love to see the growth of people coming in here and saying what they got to say. Even when they agree or disagree, it's fun. It's all love at the end of the day. So appreciate all the support, y'all. And E, what's going on with you, man?
Let's see. I built a couch. That was fun. I'm about to go build a hutch. I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter. So if you guys ever heard of the company Lovesack, it's a hilarious name, by the way. I'll give them props for that. They build giant modern memory foam beanbags. Well, they do a Sactional as their brand. You can get it sent, but you get a couch in 18 boxes. So you have the seats, the cushions are inside the seats. You pull those out. So they send you the covers, the frames, and then the side panels, and you put it all together. So we have this brand new couch that we've been waiting on forever, but you can rearrange it however you want because it's just these little panels inside. So you can do mix and match. My wife has a little reading chair now. Okay, we can turn it into a fainting couch.
I don't think they gave you a couchie. I think they gave you a day job. It sounds
I mean,
like
they did. Yeah.
They're making,
Yeah, I'm like full-time content creation. No, it's like I'm full-time labor in here. So
yeah, they were like, well, we can't afford a warehouse. What are we gonna do, guys? Oh, what if we just make them build it? We'll just send them all the pieces and they can figure it out.
I haven't given you the creepy picture material yet, but I thought since I can actually lay lengthwise on it about doing the Burt Reynolds for you, I was gonna go for that.
Please, so. I want a follow up to you lying in that creepy coffin box.
Okay, really that one. Okay, I built a Murphy bed like in our guest room, gives us a little more room, you know, place to work out. My wife do yoga and stuff like that. But the big bed folds. That was a 500-pound crate when it was shipped. That was insane to put that thing together. But like the box was big enough, you could put me inside it and I'd get lost. So that's why that was there. These were much smaller. But yeah, after I'm done building furniture, I got to finish Kenna by about 5 hours in. I hear it's about twice as long as that, so that'll be good. New World's around the corner. I'm still debating on that one because, you know, we're going to have some downtime in this game. So I'm still not entirely sure where that's going to go. But other than that, as you guys know, I'm no longer at my kickboxing studio. So I'm doing this all the time now. So this is what I got going on. So if you guys want to find all of these amazing people, please support all of them. Tassi, go find his articles and hit refresh 4 times until Forbes blocks you out.
Support Tassi, hardest working
in incognito mode.
Incognito mode. Then go on your phone, just refresh back and forth. For Travis, go find his review on IGN. Just hit a bot to hit refresh, bump those views up. And as for Cog, please go subscribe to Iron Lord's podcast YouTube channel. Go find some views on Lognet is what I was going to call it, but lordsofgaming.net. No, but the last one is support this man in the high profile work that he's doing over at Last Stand Media. Great group of guys over there enjoying basically making you guys one of my Xbox podcasts to kind of, you know, fill everything in. So Defining Duke and calling in everybody. There's a lot of amazing creators in the world, and I'm lucky enough to sit with 3 on this podcast. So thank you all for being here. Again, it's, you know, my pleasure, of course, always.
Oh, always love, brother.
Well, for episode number 167, Tassi, thank you for coming in as always. We'll get you in here as much as you want to be. So if you ever like, dude, I want it fun to like, let us know. You're always invited. Travis, Cog.
Jump Travis again.
We're gonna leave Travis bloody in an alley somewhere.
I like 3v1s. We could get his, you know, he likes that competition.
I do. I'm all here for it. I'm used to being on the minority side of the argument.
We love
and all of my opinions,
brother. We love the passion, regardless. No doubt.
Well, thank you guys so much. We'll wrap this one up here. So for episode 167, September 23rd, amazing guest, amazing times, and I knew the debate lived up to it. Thank you all. Have a good one. And for this episode, it has been the last word.
Oh, that was insane. That was.
All right, guys. For those of you guys out on YouTube, thank you guys. Like, follow all these amazing people. We will see you guys very soon. Probably me sooner on this channel, but go find all these other people. They do stuff all the time. Have a good one, everybody.